So you want to learn SEO. In other words, you want to rank your site first on Google, first on Bing, and now in the AI age, you want to be able to be mentioned and cited first on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Claude, DeepSeek, any of these AI or LLM-based search engines. And in this long video, I'm going to show you step by step every single thing you need to do from literal zero, as if you didn't know anything about SEO, to becoming an expert, to, again, ranking your site first or being cited first on these LLM search engines, okay? I'm going to show you step by step from literal nothing to, after watching this video and, of course, implementing the stuff that I teach you, you'll be able to rank first. And granted, though, I know that 99% of people watching this video will just watch it. And maybe 0.1% will actually apply this stuff. But I urge you to please apply what I teach you in here, because I'm confident that if you apply what I teach you in here, you will see results. And one of the ways I know this is because I apply these exact same strategies to grow my own business, right? I drive traffic to my business with SEO, applying and using the exact strategy that I'm going to show you right now in this video. So please, 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 if I can ask you for something, I won't even ask you to subscribe or to leave a comment or like. Don't do that. Just invest your time in actually applying the stuff that I teach you on here, okay? So sit down, relax, take a notepad, all right? Write some stuff down, and yeah. Let's break it down. Hey, it's me. Bit of an interruption here, I know, but I wanted to make sure that you know that I have a done-for-you service. So if you want me to do all your SEO for you, it's going to be the very first link in the description. If you go to arvo.com/call, again, the very first link in the description, it's a service where you can hire me to do your SEO for you. I'll come in as a sort of a co-founder of your business. I'll analyze what your business is, what you sell, why you sell it, who your customers are, who your competitors are, what the pain points of your customers are, and develop a SEO strategy. I'll present the strategy to you. If you agree, if you want to go for it, I'll then start to apply the strategy and work one-on-one with you to build the strategy. And the good thing about this is that I guarantee a 25% increase in organic search traffic in 90 to 180 days, or you don't pay. So this, I think it's pretty cool. I think we're the only business doing this because we can afford to do it, because I know my SEO knowledge works, and I know any strategy that I implement in any type of business works. So if you want to hire me, again, to do your SEO for you, I guarantee I'll increase your site's traffic for non-branded search keywords by 25% in 90 to 180 days, or you don't pay. Again, I'll just come into your business and do the SEO for you. So it's going to be the very first link in the description. Check it out if you want me to do your SEO for you. If not, well, I'll let you keep watching. Cheers. All right, we're here. Let's get going. So I want to teach you how to become a master at SEO. First, I'm going to teach you about the principles of ranking on search engines, and then actually give you some tangible tips you can implement starting today. And it's going to be a long video. It's going to be boring. And the reason why I want to start with the principles is because I need to be able to tell you how I think about things and why things work the way they do, and giving you a way into my mind to learn how I think about this and have critical thinking, because my goal is to have you watch this and then go out on your own, right? Because if I would just talk to you about the tangible tips, right, you'd be capped at what you know, right? If I'm teaching you the thought process and teaching you how to critical think about this marketing strategy, because SEO is a marketing strategy, right, you'll be able to go so much more beyond. And I now, finally, over all these years of teaching on YouTube, I understand, this even looks like a university class, but I now understand why teachers explain to you the concepts, because as cliche as it sounds, you need to understand the concepts and the reason behind things. Why does this work like this? Why doesn't this work like that? So understanding the nature of things, how they work, and even a bit of a tangent right here, Elon Musk talks about this, right? Understanding exactly why things work like they work, the core principles. Because again, if I teach you this, you'll be able to do so much more than if I just went over some tangible tips. So again, it's going to be long, but I need to give you and explain to you why things work like they work, my thought process, so then you can put holes in my thought process, because I do things the way I do because that's what I know how to do, right? I'm going to teach you what I do and how I do it, but because I'm teaching you the critical thinking, the thought process behind all these systems, right, you'll be able to poke holes into my strategies, into my thought process, and this is the only way to make you succeed, okay? Again, as cliche as that sounds, this is essential, okay? So, with that out of the way, right, simply what we're doing is we are doing marketing, right? SEO is a marketing strategy. Search engine optimization is the marketing strategy that allows you to rank a site higher on search engines, okay, and make more money out of it. Now, does more traffic mean more sales? No. More traffic doesn't mean more money. Okay, this is a very key important concept, right? There's a correlation, right, but it doesn't mean causation. Okay, there's a correlation. Yes, in theory, the more traffic you get, the more eyeballs, the more money you can make, but it's not one-to-one. and it's not all the time. Okay, and we need to cover this because it's very important, because oftentimes people focus on traffic, and traffic can be a vanity metric. Okay, now what SEO is, as you might know, right, you're watching this, is you are on a search engine. Doesn't matter if it's Google, doesn't matter if it's Bing, doesn't matter if it's TikTok, okay, YouTube, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, right? All these are search engines. These are product-based search engines. So Amazon, Etsy, eBay, these are product-based search engines, okay? TikTok, YouTube, or yeah, I guess TikTok, YouTube, these are video-based search engines, okay? Bing, Google, these are the classic, mostly text-based search engines. Sure, when you search for something on Google, right, depending on the search query, it might give you the classic 10 links, or might give you like a video, or might give you like a social. So it depends on what you're searching. Like, these are the more broader search engines, right? When you search for something on YouTube, you only get videos. On Google and Bing, not necessarily. And so now the first concept we need to understand, right, is search intent, okay? So when someone searches for, right, let's say the intent is buying a product, right? There's multiple intents. There's buying a product, right? There's buying a service, there's learning, right? There's infinite intents, okay? And so when someone searches, right, for buy water bottle on Google, right? What does Google give them, right? They're going to give them, if you search for buy water bottle or best water bottle of stainless steel on Google, right? What's going to happen is that they're going to give you a bunch of product listings, right? Or buy stainless steel water bottle, right? Of course, they're going to give you this first, right? Even though these are sponsored, right? Mostly it's going to be like product-based listings, okay? This first, because it doesn't make sense for them not to do this. If you search, for example, for how to tie a tie, right? The first result is going to always be a video, right? Video, and written-based search right here, or result right here, but mostly it's just video. Like all these is video or image, because again, the search intent behind someone searching for how to tie a tie is to learn how to tie a tie. And the whole goal of these search engines, right, the whole goal of these, right, is to give users two things. First is what they want, and then the fastest they can. For example, if you type in how tall is the Eiffel Tower, Google's going to just give you right here. Because again, Google, what they want, all these search engines, what they want is giving you the correct information the fastest they can. So this stuff right here, it makes sense they do it. It's not necessarily, excuse me, that they're stealing traffic from you. I mean, they are, but the whole goal, their business model is to become, is to provide the most value for the users. That's the whole goal of product. Google is a product, right? So it doesn't make sense for them to rank a blog post first, because they can just give you the info like this. That's why LLM search engines like ChatGPT are very popular, because when your search query is conversational, right? I'm Portuguese, I have a company in the US, how do I pay taxes if I make 100K a year and have one child? So this stuff right here, Google's never going to be able to give you a tailored answer for this, right? So the info they give you is not great, and you have to click around and investigate the stuff for you. That's why engines like ChatGPT are great for more of these complex queries. Again, the whole goal of these engines is to give you the best answer that satisfies your search intent the fastest, okay? And so now going back here to intent, the reason why I talk about this is because depending on the keywords, and we'll touch on keywords, but depending on the keywords you want to rank for, right, you need to produce content that satisfies that intent, okay? If you want to rank for the keyword how to tie a tie, well, go on these search engines, see what the search engine is valuing for this search query, and produce better content. So it would be dumb of you for this query to produce a blog post, right? Or create like a product page, because Google wants to give the info to the users as fast as possible. And what it's valuing right here is videos, right? Video, image, okay? So depending on your search query, you have to see, right? You could just search right here or think, right, for yourself, what would be, based on my search query, the best form to deliver this information to the user? In other words, what would be the best form to satisfy the user's search intent the fastest, okay? That's a concept that needs to be ingrained in your mind, okay? Because you can have the best blog posts explaining how to tie a tie, but if that's not the best way in which users can consume information, right, and satisfy their search intent the fastest, you'll never rank, right? And a great example of this is if you search for if you search for buy a car in Los Angeles, right? The only stuff that's going to show up, right, it's car resellers or whatever. It's never going to show like a link for a dog grooming service, right? Because again, Google wants to satisfy the user search intent. So if they search for car buying or car leasing, you're never going to have a link for a dog grooming service because this doesn't satisfy the search intent. And I know this sounds basic, but these concepts are very important to understand. You got to satisfy the search intent. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, what do you do? Still tied in with search. Let me just change the color of this to black so it's easier to see, right? What you have to do when you are thinking about the keywords you want to rank for, sure, we can talk about tools later on, you can talk about this stuff, but you, right, you as the business owner, you know better than anyone else, right, what your products are, and what your customer pain points are, right? You know better than me, and you know better than any AI or any tool out there. You as a business owner, you know what you're selling, what the pain points you're solving, and who your customer is, right? If, for example, you are a plastic surgeon, right, you know, like, your target audience, you know, like, audience, you know their pain points, okay? Maybe they feel they're like ugly, they feel like I don't know, you get the point, right? You know their pain points and you know what you're selling, you know who you're selling it to better than anyone else. And so based on this, right, you got to be able to understand what their potential search queries would be on search engines, right? And again, you can use tools, you can use anything you want. But I'd say the very first step before like investing in tools and all this stuff is just you sit down and make a list of the keywords you think people wanting to buy your products or services would search for on Google, Bing, ChatGPT, etc. Okay, and after that you can use tools, of course. Tools are also valuable to find new keywords that you thought maybe nobody searched for them, but actually people are searching for them. For example, I don't know, plastic surgery, complications for women. I don't know, right? You get the point, right? There may be some keywords where you don't think about them like off the top of your mind, but that there might be some search volume for. Now, there's a free tool for this, Google Keyword Planner. It's free, right? Don't need to spend thousands of dollars on other tools. This is free and gives you the search data for a bunch of keywords, okay? Now, there's more expensive tools like Ahrefs where they have a bit more data and they allow you to explore more stuff. For example, if I go here to Keyword Explorer and just search in for plastic surgery, right? It allows me to like go down and, for example, Tom Brady plastic surgery, and then, right, I don't know, it allows me to find keywords and more opportunities that maybe I wouldn't have thought about them. Okay, but the very first step should be like you sit down and make a list of keywords, right? And once you have a list of your keywords, right, we need to draw out this graph, right, where in the x-axis we have traffic. And usually the higher the traffic, the higher the competition. And in the y-axis, we have the buying intent. And I'll tell you why this is important, right? And this ties in with the stuff that I said to you in the beginning, that traffic doesn't necessarily mean more money. Hey, it's me again. Just want to remind you that I have this done for you service where I will do your SEO for you. Again, like I said before, I guarantee a 25% increase in organic search traffic over 90 to 180 days, or you don't pay. So I'll come in, I understand who your customer is, what their pain points are, what's your competitors, what you sell, etc., and build this tailored SEO strategy that will get you more traffic, guaranteed. Okay, whether that's through building backlinks or building blog pages or building feature pages, or optimizing what you already have in place, right? Optimizing your schema markup, your technical SEO is on page. I'll just grow your business as if it was my business. Okay, so it's a fully done for you, hands-off service where I'll come in and guarantee 25% more traffic. So again, it's going to be the very first link in the description. Check it out if you want. If not, I'll let you keep watching. Cheers. Because, right, let me give you an example. Let's say I have a store, a physical store, right, where we sell phone repairs. Okay, we sell phone repairs. Okay, and some people come in organically through the door when they're passing by, but some of them, right, we want to expand our revenue. So we have a website, of course. Right, and traffic comes into the website, whether that's from Google or Bing or other search engines or even paid ads. Okay, they come to the site. So before they come into the store, they come into the website first. Now our site can rank first for keywords like how to repair an iPhone 16, or it can also rank for keywords like how much does it cost to repair an iPhone 16, or where to repair an iPhone 16. Now, these are two very different intents when it comes to these queries. So let's assume the keyword how to repair an iPhone 16 has 10,000 searches per month, right? And these two, how and where, how much, and where have only 1K. Okay, this is just for demonstrational purposes, right? It would be much more valuable to rank our site for these keywords than for this one. Why? Well, because the buying intent behind the keyword like how much or where is way, way higher than someone searching for how. Someone searching for how most likely wants to do it themselves, while someone searching for where or how much, well, most likely they're looking for someone to do it for them. Now, granted, of course, you can still convert some of these people. For example, let's say you have a page on your site that ranks for how to repair an iPhone. It's this beautiful page, right, with amazing title, even a video, step-by-step video, right, a step 1, boom, a step 2, so super broken down, right, with an FAQ at the bottom, like amazing page that if people actually read it, they can actually fix their iPhone for them. That said, right, and again, you can rank this page, rank this page, and you can also say at the bottom, hey, listen, this is very hard. Why not just come into our store, give us a call, and we'll fix it for you? So yes, you can convert some of these people, right, into coming into your store eventually. But it just takes much more time. Maybe like you have to nurture them with an email sequence. Maybe they have to call you. So it does take time. But it's way, way easier just to go for the keywords with high buying intent. They have less traffic most of the times, right? So they're easier to rank, and the conversion rates are much higher. This is what I mean by more traffic doesn't mean more sales, because it's not about the traffic, it's about the buying intent. This is the most important thing about your keywords, right? You can have 1 billion in monthly organic search traffic, but if nobody's buying from you, it's pointless. And you see this every single day, Everyone, like a lot of people suffer from this, even our own business. And so what does this mean about on this keyword matrix? Well, you make a list of your keywords and you put them, right, scattered throughout this matrix, right? According with the buying intent and traffic the competition, okay? And then you don't target keywords here nor here, right? Why? Because these two quadrants have low buying intent, right? This one has low buying intent and high competition. So not only are these hard keywords to rank for, but even if you rank for them, the likelihood of them becoming a conversion or a buyer, I guess, is way, way lower than on this one and this one, right? These two quadrants have high buying intent. High buying intent, low traffic, high buying intent, high traffic, high competition. So again, it's way, way better to target multiple keywords here than a couple here. Okay, this is the most important thing I see a lot of people fail is they focus too much on traffic and they don't understand the concept of the intent. And that's why all these theories is important. You need to understand the intent behind someone's search. You need to understand that search engines want to provide people with info the fastest they can and the most accurate they can based on their intent, based on the intent of the search. And you want to capture as highest of buying intent of that search as you possibly can. And so now, of course, after you have the keywords you want to rank for, right, it's time to produce content that satisfies the intent behind those keywords. Because again, search engines are where people are searching for these keywords, the keywords you just said, right? Wrote down, excuse me. And so now you have to be able to produce content that satisfies those keywords search intent so that these search engines provide people with said content. Now that content can be videos, can be written text, right? Can be a product page, right? It doesn't matter for now, okay? The content you're going to be producing doesn't matter for now, right? You just have to understand that, okay, now after the very first step is done, it's time to start giving search engines content that satisfies a search intent for these keywords so that when someone searches for these keywords on these search engines can take your content and give it to people because you have the best content that satisfies their search intent. Hopefully this made sense, but we'll circle back to this later on. Now the next step of this, it's maybe going to be a step backwards, is understanding the three main pillars of SEO, okay? We have on-page SEO, right? We have off-page SEO, okay? And we have technical SEO, okay? These are the main three pillars of SEO. And you cannot succeed in the SEO space without all three, right? In other words, it's quite difficult to get more traffic to your site by ranking higher without nailing all these three pillars down. Now, what does this all mean? So what's on page? On page is everything that happens on your site, okay? It's the name, right, on page, everything happens on your site. So the content you produce, whether that's for like a blog page or your home page or your services page or your product page, the copy that's on there, the keywords that are on there, the way it's written, why it's written that way, the number of times you add images, you add videos, you add your keywords, where you add your keywords. So the content that's written on your site, any page on your site, okay, that's on page. Everything happens on your site, okay? Then, and we'll expand on all these, don't worry, then we have off page. Off page essentially is backlinks, right? What's a backlink? Well, pretty straightforward. Let's say this is my website, right? And we have a page. Let's say, for example, my website is about, it's a dog grooming business, okay? And let's say, for example, we have a link from BBC. BBC wrote an article about the best dog grooming businesses and products, and in that article, they linked to us, right? This is a backlink, right? Maybe Wikipedia links to us, okay? Maybe one of the most famous dog food businesses linked to us to recommend our services. These are all backlinks, okay? And why are they important? Well, because these act as trust signals, okay? So because Google trusts BBC, right? Because Google trusts this blog, because Google trusts Wikipedia, all these notorious brands, right? If they trust them and if they rank their own pages, right? What happens is that when they see these trustworthy sources in their eyes linking to you, they'll view you as a trustworthy source too. It's as if you were recommending a friend to someone else, right? That someone else, because it's coming from you, a person they trust, right? They know that your recommendation is of value, okay? Again, you cannot succeed in SEO without these three pillars, because if you're getting backlinks to a page that doesn't satisfy the search intent, this page will never rank. But if you're able to combine great on-page content with amazing backlinks, it's the very first step to ranking very high. Again, we'll cover how to build links, don't worry, okay? But off-page SEO is basically about link building. Now, there's a bunch of nuance to how many links you should be building, how fast you should be building links, what's a good link, right? Metrics, traffic, DR, UR, niche down. We'll cover all that, don't worry. And then we have technical SEO, which is as important. And so what is technical SEO? Well, this is the boring part of SEO. It's your meta titles, your meta descriptions, okay? We'll cover all this, don't worry, meta descriptions, your schema markup, your site speed, your internal linking structure, etc. So all the boring stuff about SEO, the technical parts of it, which are as important. Let me give you an example, right? You can have the best on-page in the world, the best off-page in the world. But if your site takes 10 seconds to load, well, one, it's never going to really rank. And two, even if it does, people click on it, it just takes so much time to load. Well, they're just going to like go back and click the second result, even if you're ranking first, right? And for example, meta titles and meta descriptions. Let's just do, for example, Plumber Dallas, okay? Right? This guy, for example, can be ranking first, higher than this one, but if this meta title right here is more enticing than this one, well, I might click this one first. So you got to optimize the meta titles and the description, both for SEO, so you have to sprinkle in your keywords in there, like here, Plumber Dallas, right? But also for click-through rate, for CTR, meaning you need to make it as enticing as you can. And here's another example for local businesses, for example, right? What some people do is they add their phone number to the meta title. For example, right here, these guys. So these guys might get less clicks than these ones, but because they have their number here, where people are just picking up their phone and just calling without even clicking the site. So that can happen. Now, I wouldn't say this is a very smart thing to do, because if Google sees that nobody's clicking your site, right? Google doesn't know people are calling the number, right? They just know that they aren't clicking your site. So if you're ranking second and people like don't click your site over and over again, well, Google will think, okay, maybe this is not a very good search result. Let's, for example, try and put this one above it, see if people click this one. So this is not a very good example, but again, people can do this to make it more enticing, okay? The words you write, this is all about copywriting, how you write it, how enticing you make it, while at the same time making it optimized for SEO, sprinkling in your keywords. For example, schema markup. This right here, this is done with schema markup, which is a little snippet of code you can put on your site. By the way, you can go watch this video right here that teaches exactly, I'll leave it in the description, that teaches exactly, how to put this onto your site. Whether that's a local business or if you're like a product, for example, if you are, Apple AirPods Max. So this stuff right here, this image right here is done with schema. This is because of schema. This is because of schema again. So this is called schema markup or structured data. You can add these little quirks to your search results. And this is good because, I mean, just look how more enticing this is to click, right? As a big image, occupies more pixels, has like these little stars right here, which, I mean, none of these other have, so this calls more attention. So this is why technical SEO is important, because it allows you to add these little quirks and features, and which also at the same time improve your SEO and your click-through rate. Okay, again, if you want to learn how to do schema markup, add these little stars and all of that stuff, go watch this video right here because it teaches you step by step how to do so. Okay, again, all these three pillars are very important. You cannot succeed in the SEO space without these three. Okay, that's very, very important. And so now with that out of the way, again, we'll circle back to all this, don't worry. But with that out of the way, right, it's time to talk about satisfying search intent, talking about producing content, right? And this is where SEO strategies come in. SEO, right, strategies come in. Why? Because SEO strategies are all about what's the content you're producing, how you're producing it, okay? And there's infinite strategies you can apply here. Now, let me make this make more sense. For example, let's assume I have a software business. Actually, let me just give you a tangible example, right? I own this business right here, arvo.com, okay? We are a software business. We are an AI SEO tool, okay? Now, there's many more, like, there's a couple of competitors of ours, of course. If you're in a business without competitors, you're either going to become extremely wealthy because nobody has thought and realized that there's an amazing opportunity to make money, or you're poor because if there's no competitors, then the niche is so small, nobody's looking for it. So of course we have competitors. And one of the ways we can drive traffic, one of the strategies, we can apply, there's infinite ones, and I'll go over a couple, that we can apply to get more traffic to our page, is to talk about competitors. For example, right here, we have these pages which are very outdated, okay? But the talk about, it's a comparison page between us and them, right? And we compare both products. What happens with these pages, right? What happens with a comparison page? Well, on a comparison page, what we're doing, and again, I know this is tailored for software, and a lot of people don't have software businesses, but again, point here, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, is to explain to you my thought process behind things, as well as giving you as many examples as I possibly can, okay? So stay with me here. If you don't have a software company, don't worry, okay? So again, what do these comparison pages do? Comparison page. Well, we are talking about and mentioning keywords like competitor name or alternative to competitor name. Okay, so on this page, we optimize it. We write content in a way that satisfies the intent for people searching for price. So, okay, we know we want to target our competitors' keywords because we know if we can rank first for competitor name price, right, and rank a proper page, right, a blog post, doesn't matter, that talks about the price, and we can also mention, hey, listen, this is their price, and here's why we're better. We are cheaper and XYZ. Or if we can rank for the keyword alternative to competitor name, right, we can capture the section of the market that's actively looking for an alternative to this competitor. So again, this is super bottom of the funnel. Someone searching for alternative to competitor one, well, they know what their product does, maybe they've tried it before, and they're actively looking to buying an alternative. Right, so these are what these comparison pages do. They allow you to target super bottom of the funnel keywords. I know this is mostly for SaaS, and if you have a SaaS, right, I've broken down this strategy step by step. You can go watch these two videos right here. They literally break down this exact strategy, like why we do it, how we do it, okay? So this is just one of many strategies, right? For software, for example, doing comparison pages, okay? Still in the software niche, and this applies to anything, right? For example, a software has features. And so, of course, we make pages for all our features. So every single feature has a page. And what these pages are, they're pretty simple, right? H1, paragraph, call to action, video explaining the feature, and information about the feature. But this is crafted in such a way that we can target the keywords. For example, for this page, we want to rank for AI SEO agent or AI agent or SEO autopilot, excuse me. And so we write the keyword, we sprinkle in the keywords in the H1, we sprinkle in the keywords in the paragraph, right? We sprinkle in the keywords in what we write on the page, the info right on the page. And again, I know this is applied to software, but you do the exact same thing if you're a local business, right? You're going to have a service page or a location page. And by the way, I know I keep mentioning videos, but you can go watch, and you should watch this video right here that literally breaks down in, I think, 2 hours, a local SEO strategy. So if you're a local business, a chiropractor, a lawyer, right? If you want to rank on Google Maps, right? If you want to rank on the local search, go watch this video right here because it explains to you the whole process behind a local SEO strategy. So I'll leave it down below in the description, so don't worry, okay? And again, this applies also to products, right? You should have a product page, okay? Right? The same strategy applies to products, right? Having a page for the product that targets the keywords. Or for example, right, another strategy for SEO is simply having a blog, simply producing content that satisfies the search intent. So for example, this blog, right, the whole goal is to rank for Shopify SEO apps, right? Because we have an app for Shopify SEO. So you want to rank for this. And you want to show people all these apps that exist and of course then mention ours. While at the same time, this is something that people often fail to do, is they don't have calls to action. So we'll see, as you scroll, there's a sticky call to action up here on the left, right, where people can click. And at the bottom, if you keep on scrolling down, there's another call to action down here. Okay, so optimizing your website for conversions is key. Whether you're writing a blog post or whether you're making a comparison page, for example, this one, or a feature page has a call to action down up here, call to action down here, right? You need to do calls to action all the time. Call to action right here, I think call to action down here as well. So you need to be doing call to action all the time. Doesn't matter what your business is. Again, I know I'm talking about a software here, but all these principles apply to the exact same, all these businesses. Okay, and again, if you're a local business, you want a bit more nuanced, in-depth training, please go watch this video right here that teaches you exactly how to do local SEO. Okay, and again, you can go watch these ones right here that teach you how to do SEO for SaaS business, which is our business. Okay, but again, these are all applied to, these mindsets are applied across the board to all these different businesses. Now, the simplest strategy is just to produce blog pages and feature pages. Feature pages for a SaaS or for a local business like service or location pages, or for an e-commerce store, product pages. And e-commerce as well, you could also produce blog pages. Okay, so this is the simplest strategy, the most classical one. Open up your site, create a blog. If you don't have one, okay, blog. If you're an e-commerce store, create a product page. Of course, you should have the product pages, okay? If you're a local business, service page and location pages, okay? It's pretty much it, okay? With this, you win 99% of the times in your SEO endeavors, okay? Again, if you're a software business, go for blog, go for, let's call this, these are in essence what these are basically feature pages. So let's feature pages, right? It's basically the same thing because it's the same structure. So if you have a software business, have a blog, have feature pages, right? These feature pages are going to be just / the feature name. If you have an e-commerce store, have a blog and have a product page. If you have a local business, well, have a blog, have a service page, and have a location page. This SEO strategy applies to almost 100% of the businesses out there, okay? That's pretty much it. So now that you know what you have to do, well, you have to produce content for these pages. So produce blog posts. Again, these blog posts need to satisfy the search intent of your keywords, okay? Create the services pages, right? Make them beautiful, right? Make them with a proper H1, call to action, explain what the service is or the locations you serve, okay? That's pretty much it. And if you're watching this, most likely you already have these pages. So assuming you don't have them, go out and create them. Go out and create and start producing content, okay? And I don't know what else to tell you here. It's pretty straightforward. Just make the list of your keywords, produce content that satisfy that search intent. Now, if you already have them, but they're not ranking, well, now we need to analyze why they're not ranking. And this is the simplest thing you can do, right? Is just take the keywords these pages are ranking for, right? Put the pages in a rank tracker, right? And see the positions they're ranking, right? And see who's ranking above you. And analyze and deconstruct why they're ranking above you, okay? For example, let's go here, for example, and type in Dallas plumber. Again, I'll use this. I'll try to vary from local business to product business to SaaS, but the principles all apply. And by the way, for local business, there's a bunch of rank factors that make, for example, these guys rank above these ones. Could be my previous search history, could be my location. If I'm closer to these guys, these are going to rank higher. So there's a bunch of like nuance here. But let's assume, right, these guys, let's assume we are these ones, right? And these are ranking above us. Why? Why are these guys ranking above us, right? I would first look at the domain, right? In local SEO, and even in SEO as general, like exact match domains, right? Dallas plumber, this is the exact keyword, Dallas plumbing, right? Usually give you an extra boost, okay? Than, for example, this right here. Because it's yet another place where they cleverly inserted their keywords, right? So again, this is against Google's terms of service, unless these guys are actually called Dallas plumber, which most likely they're not. And oftentimes they also like, if you see here, let's see if this happens right here. Yeah. So the name of this business is Metro Flow Plumbing, but then they just stamped in their exact match keyword right here, Dallas Emergency Plumbers, right? So this most likely isn't the name of their business. So people, what they do is sometimes they report these businesses because this isn't really this is against Google terms of services, but the reality is that it just works, like sprinkling your keywords right here. So I would look at this and say, maybe it's because of their domain. But the thing is that both of them have exact match domain. So wouldn't be this, okay? Then I would look at the site, at the pages that rank. So these are both home pages ranking, okay? So I'd look, right? Then I would say, let me just go here and do a more in-depth analysis. Let me just take in their sites and plug them into Ahrefs and look at their backlink profile first, right? These guys have, let's see, 180 referring domains, and these ones have 47. So they have less backlinks. Now, does having less backlinks mean you're going to rank lower? Not necessarily, right? Maybe they have less backlinks, but they are more powerful. In this case, they're not, right? This case, the domain rating for this business is higher, okay? So again, there's a bunch of stuff here. So DR and all these metrics, they all stem from the metric called PR that Google came out with years ago, which they then stopped sharing because people were using it to manipulate search. But these metrics, like, don't rely blindly on these ones. These can easily be manipulated. I can increase your site's DR to 80 overnight, not overnight, but like in a week's time. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to rank higher. So don't look at these metrics blindly. So what I'm saying is, when I'm looking at here and saying, okay, why are these guys ranking above me? Yeah, they have higher DR, but I mean, this higher DR isn't necessarily correlated with higher rankings, okay? But again, I'll look, okay, they have more backlinks than me. Let me just see what their backlinks are. Like, what are their backlinks? Can I replicate some of their backlinks? Can I go through this and see, oh, okay, maybe I can replicate this backlink? And I would start deconstructing what they're doing in terms of backlinks. For example, in terms of technical SEO, looking at their meta title, meta description. For example, right here, their meta title, DallasPlumber.com. We have Dallas Plumbing. The word plumber is a bit more, I wrote the word plumber on Google, maybe it's a bit more common, so maybe I'd change it, right? This right here is too long, so this could be impacting my CTR as well, so I could be having less clicks. Yes, I would have less clicks because I'm ranking second, but I could be having even less because of this right here, so it's too long. It's too long, so it's not even appearing. So it's pointless to have such a long meta title because it doesn't even appear. So this little stuff could be hindering your click-through rate, which inherently will make you rank lower. At the same time, this could be a better H1 meta title. Having the word home right here is a bit weird. You could add like a pain point right here, maybe 24-hour plumber or something like that, right? Or the best prices or something. So I would do an audit and deconstruct what they're doing and how I can do it better. For example, if I see the page bathroom plumbing, they have some right here. Let's see. They don't, but let's say these two pages are competing, this one and this one, right? I look at my page, right? I look at, okay, I have an H1, I have this text. Do I have internal links? Am I internal linking? No. There's no phone number. This is a bit of a weird page, not much content. Let me just see this. So here we have reviews on this page, a thing right here. Internal link, so I'm internal linking between these pages, and internal linking is key, right? Having a proper internal linking structure is key. So these overall, and I could spend hours and hours doing an audit right here. I won't, but this construction and trying to understand why they're ranking above us, looking at your page versus theirs, and looking at yours and what you have on yours, and looking at theirs and seeing what they have on theirs. What's their H1, right? What's their H2? What does this content talk about? Am I talking about the same content? Because it's super simple, right? You see for the keyword, right, what type of content Google ranks, and you try to make a better piece of content with more info, right? Add more images, add more videos, maybe add more social proof, right? Because these might seem like simple reviews, but they're here, it's text, right? And these all contribute to adding info to the page that can satisfy the search intent. Hopefully this is making sense. Again, there's so much nuance here that only it would be impossible to make a proper audit in this video. So I think I have a couple of, I have this one. This video is going over an audit, like how to do an audit. I think it's like 20 minutes long, going over how to do an audit for local SEO in specific, like for Google Maps and local SEO type businesses. So go watch this one again, I'll leave all links for this in the description, don't worry. Go watch this one for how to do a local audit, okay? That breaks down all my thinking process behind this stuff, behind this constructing why they're ranking first. And this video right here breaks down how to do an audit like in general for a generic type of site. So go watch those two, they're gonna be very, very helpful. And now, going back here, right, we know now that we have to, starting from the beginning, get our keywords, right, then produce content that satisfies the search intent for said keywords, okay? In this case, we're talking about written-based content, right? Your location pages, your services pages, your feature pages, your product pages, your blog pages. And the whole goal of this, right, is to optimize these pages, right? Optimize, right? And by optimize, I mean, as a generic term, right? Satisfy the search intent, which in other words means, right, sprinkling in your keywords throughout the page. So in your headings, so your H1, H2, H3, right, in your paragraphs, okay, adding images with the proper alt text, with proper description, adding videos, right, adding bullets, tables, quotes, right, an FAQ section. So adding, all in all, right, the only thing that matters, if you just think about it, is satisfying the search intent. And then you write information that you think best satisfies that search intent. It's pretty much it. Now, for example, if we're talking about a blog post, okay, and I'm using my tool, by the way, this is the best tool for SEO, plain and simple. I know I'm 100% biased, but yeah, it's just the best one. Yeah, you could be using tools like ChatGPT, but I'll tell you why in a second. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, again, all I'm doing here, and Arvo isn't a magic tool, right? Arvo doesn't do SEO for you, right? All it does is just saves you time. Here's an example. Let's say, for example, I'm the owner of this business right here, Epic Gardening. I'm not the owner, right? But what they do, right, is they sell the gardening supplies. You go to their shop, right? It's an e-commerce business, and they sell, right, seeds. They sell like gloves. They sell these like gardening bags, right? They sell basically ways for you, if you're a beginner, to start your home garden. Okay, pretty much it. They sell like gardening supplies for people. There you go, gardening beds, gardening trays, right? Seeds, whatever, soils, a bunch of stuff for gardeners. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. And what they do, one of the ways in which they drive traffic to their business is, of course, right, SEO. Again, they do ads as well. They do social media. They do a bunch of stuff, but they do SEO. This right here, they have a bunch of blog posts, okay? 7 tips for faster seed germination, right? It's just an informational piece of content with images, a table of contents, proper content structuring with in-article images, links, right? Linking to other pages on their site, linking to their product pages, just a valuable piece of content. That's all this is, okay? And here's an example. This, right, was done with AI. This is all done with AI, okay? The AI wrote the article, added the videos, added the images, added links, so linking out to other blog posts of theirs, their homepage maybe a service page or a product page. Maybe these are all internal links, by the way. Maybe links to Wikipedia, a link to another authoritative blog in the gardening niche. So it added the internal links, the external links, the images, the videos, right? The bullets, the tables, the quotes, right? Anything and everything it thinks would be best to satisfy the search intent. In this case, the article is about gardening tips for beginners, right? And again, yes, you can write all this manually, but in a world of AI, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Excuse me. Like, why not use AI? AI just allows you to do the same work just way faster. Like, I oftentimes give this example, right? If me and you are in a table building competition, this is me, this is you. The goal is to build a table, right? And the person who builds the most tables the fastest wins, right? I have a screwdriver. This is a screwdriver, okay? And you have your little hand, okay? And you're using your hand to tighten up the bolts from the legs to the top. And I'm using a screwdriver to tighten up the bolts. Yeah, by the end of the day, we're both are going to have tables built. I'll just be able to build so many more tables so much faster because while you're using your hand, I'm using this tool that allows me to tighten up the bolts so much faster. And this is AI. Right? At the end of the day, AI amplifies our output. So this tool is AI. And so, yeah, we do the same thing. I just do it so much faster. And honestly, nowadays, with a bit more input and a bit more success. For example, let's say you feel like this paragraph right here is a bit too weird, too short. Go here and just make it longer, okay? So the AI will take into account the whole context of the article and make this paragraph a bit longer, right? And you can approve or decline, right? Approve. Let's say, for example, you think that this info right here is better explained in a table form or in a list format. Just click here and this AI will transform this into a table form. Or you can even add custom prompts, like, for example, write this more tailored to beginners, or sprinkling the keywords, my product, whatever. You can add custom prompts and change up the article, how it's written. You can sprinkle in your keywords here, or you can say, add links. And the AI will read through your article, read through this paragraph in specific, and find the best places to add external links to. So linking out to external authoritative sources, right? In just a few seconds. Can you do this manually? 100%. But why would you? So again, let's go boom, 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 boom. So you can click to see the sources. Yeah, you could do this manually, but you have to choose the anchor. You have to go and find sites that made sense. This just doesn't make any sense nowadays. And if you're using AI images, for example, like this one, this is an article with AI images, you can say stuff like add a dog, and the AI will take into account the existing context of the images and the article as a whole. And in this case, add a dog to a gardening-like scenario, as you see here on the picture. So there you go. A dog added to the sort of garden. Boom, accept. These are AI. You can use your own images if you like. Point here is that AI just saves you so much more time. So point being is that you can use tools like this to improve the speed at which you write your blogs or your service page. It doesn't matter. There's a bunch more stuff. Or for example, you can interact with the article. Say, for example, adds a paragraph titled "The Gardener 9000, the best gardening tool for beginners." And now, because you're able to speak back and forth with the article, the AI will find the best place to include this. Now, this of course, this product doesn't exist, right? But you'll find the best place to add this paragraph to and write some sort of description about this product. You can tell it to link to the product. You can tell it to add an image, add a video, link here, link there. So you can speak back and forth with the article, right? As if you're using ChatGPT, but this has a bunch more context into your brand. It links with your site automatically. You can click a button and publish it straight to your site. Let's just wait for, there you go. It's added the thing right here. Let's see where it is. Boom, there you go. The paragraph, it's right here. Okay, and I can accept, boom. Now, again, you can speak back and forth. You can add limits, add links. You can do so much more with this. You can, for example, go here and say publish article. And the article will publish straight to your site. Now, if you're wondering if this works, here's a bunch of case studies of people actually using this to get insane amounts of traffic. Just read the titles on the videos, like 0 to 12,000, 0 to 6,000. I mean, it's insane. This works, right? Again, this is not a magic tool, but when you pair a tool that leverages AI for SEO, that allows you to speed up the processes at which you do SEO, applied with the knowledge you have about SEO, you can have insane results. So I'll leave links for all these case studies down below in the description so you can go watch them and see what they did, why they did it, and how you can do it too. Okay, so go watch those, and it's insane. It does, of course, work. Now, can you succeed without AI? Yeah, you can. But I mean, just way, way faster if you use AI. And since we're here, like talking about technical SEO, right? You can go here to Site Optimizers, click Create Optimizer, add your site name, URL, language, select how many pages you want, add your site map, and what this will do is it will automatically crawl your site. You will crawl as many pages as you want. In this case it crawled 50 pages, right? And then it will allow you to optimize your technical SEO on autopilot. So it analyzes all this stuff. Page, which we talked about before, right? Page titles, meta descriptions, canonical URLs, image alt text, internal links, and schema. And it tells you, hey, listen, for example, let's go here for let me just zoom in a bit, for page titles. Our current page title for this page right here, for example, for, I don't know, the AI SEO agent page, which funny enough is this exact feature page. If I go here to arvo.com/AI SEO agent, it's just a page like going over the feature. Again, don't just focus on SaaS. This can be applied to any niche, okay, any type of business. So this is the page, simple, pretty straightforward page that goes over how it works. It scans your site, then with smart reasoning, it can actually implement the changes. So if I go here again, it's telling, hey, listen, your current page title, right, page title is AI SEO agent, Arvo. We suggest you change it to automate your SEO agency with Arvo, SEO with Arvo AI agent. And here's why. So the AI tells you, gives you a suggestion, and then tells you, hey, listen, here's why we think you should change it. And if you hit apply, right, the AI agent will automatically go to your site and implement this change just like that. Just hit apply or discard, and based on what you apply and discard, the AI will learn for future recommendations. So this is such a fast way to automate your technical SEO. It's insane. I can just, if I agree with this thing, I can just hit apply, right? And the good thing about this, we could simply just not include the why here. We could just not tell you. But I feel like it's very important that we tell you why we're doing things. And you, based on our critical thinking, if you agree or not with these changes. And again, if you agree, right, with the why, which I think in this case I agree, right, I would hit apply. And this works for titles, descriptions, canonical URLs, image alt text. By the way, if you test this right now, I can assure you, you have a bunch of images without alt text. We do when we should not do this, right? Internal links, this is pretty cool. Like you have a site with a bunch of pages on your site, right? Your homepage, your blog page, your services pages. The AI will run through them all and suggest a tailored internal linking structure. So hey, link your homepage to your service page, link your service page to your blog page, right? And this is key, right? It's here right here, suggesting us to link this page using this anchor text to this one and tells us the why. And if I hit apply, the AI will automatically add a link to this page on my site to the other one. And having a proper internal linking structure is key, is a crucial part of your technical SEO strategy, because let's say this is your service page, and this is your home page, and this is your blog page, one of your blog pages. If you build links to this page, build backlinks to this page, which we'll cover again, and this links to this one, well, the link juice will flow through to this page. And if this one links to this one, the link juice will flow through to this page as well. So if you don't have a proper internal linking structure, when you're building backlinks, it can hinder the success and the effectiveness of your backlinks. So you're just wasting money. So having a proper internal linking structure is key. Schema markup, we talked about this. Again, I suggest you go watch that video that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, right? It automates your schema. So it gives you the code, right, for the schema. For example, for the review schema, for those little stars we talked about when you, like, I'll show you again, right? AirPods Max, I think it was this. Scroll down. This little star right here, this right here, is done with schema. And this AI gives you the schema code. You should just hit apply. You'll automatically apply to your site and you'll get those stars. In this case, you just do FAQ schema and article schema. We'll do a bunch more in the future. So this automates your technical SEO for you, which, I mean, it is insane. You can also automate your social media, which is key, right? Because this comes in handy when we're talking about LLM SEO, AI SEO, which is what I want to talk up next. And we'll cover link building, don't worry. But now I want to talk the next part of the video about LLM SEO. Again, LLM SEO. So let's break this down. Hey, it's me again. Just want to remind you that I have this done for you service where I will do your SEO for you. Again, like I said before, I guarantee a 25% increase in organic search traffic over 90 to 180 days, or you don't pay. So I'll come in, I understand who your customer is, what their pain points are, what's your competitors, what you sell, etc., and build this tailored SEO strategy that will get you more traffic guaranteed, okay? Whether that's through building backlinks or building blog pages or building feature pages or optimizing what you already have in place, right? Optimizing your schema markup, your technical SEO is on page. I'll just grow your business as if it was my business, okay? So it's a fully done for you, hands-off service where I'll come in and guarantee 25% more traffic. So again, it's going to be the very first link in the description. Check it out if you want. If not, I'll let you keep watching. Cheers. And so for this part about LLM SEO, right, I need to explain to you the theory behind how these LLMs work and how you get to be positioned or cited and why they cite certain sites over others. So I'm going to play a clip of a previous video I recorded that's going to give you a bunch of context onto how this stuff works. So please, again, pay attention. It's going to go over exactly step by step how LLMs work and how we can start to implement some of the things we applied into the regular SEO to the AI LLM-based SEO. So play the clip. Right, so we have a lot to cover, so let's just get going. Welcome to the LLM SEO course. It's going to be a step-by-step guide on how to get your site recommended in LLMs in 7 simple steps. Now, I say recommended instead of ranking because unlike with Google or Bing, right, you don't really get ranked, right? These LLMs, right, whether that's Claude, Perplexity, or ChatGPT, they recommend your brand on your site, not necessarily rank it, okay? Now, again, I'm going to show you in 7 simple steps how to do this, and I'm also going to show you a live example of how we're doing LLM SEO for our own brand and how it's being recommended and how we're doing it, so you could just copy what we're doing, okay? Now, first things first, right, I want to give you a bit of context as to why LLM is the future of SEO, but not entirely. Okay, first things first is, right, most people here, right, you, me, everyone, right, tends to now use these LLMs, right, whether that's, this is essentially the customer front-facing product, right? ChatGPT is a product, Perplexity is a product, Grok is a product, and behind the scenes, it's a large language model working, okay? Now, they've just chosen to show us and allow us as users to interact with our product in this way, in a chat manner, okay, in a back and forth manner, okay? Now, it is the future of SEO because, again, there's a lot of searches we as people used to search on the, I guess, classic or traditional search engines where it makes much more sense to search them on one of these products that are based off of an LLM. Right, these chat-based back and forth products that allow you to ask a question and then iterate on that question based on prior context, okay? And the reason why I say not entirely is because, yes, a lot of queries can now be searched on these types of products, but still, right, there's a lot of searches that still make more sense to search on the classic search engine like Google or Bing. So again, it is the future for some searches, not for all of them, okay? For example, if you're looking for a local business, most likely you'll search on Google and then go through Google Maps, right? You won't necessarily search ChatGPT for that, at least not as of now, right? As we stand right now, okay? Now, it's not to say that Google won't come up and Google won't change the way that search engine works, but as today, as of 2025, right, you still use Google in the classic manner, which is a list of like results. Again, things could change. Google can change how their product looks like, maybe more towards a chat-based type thing. Who knows? But still, again, they will never, that's my take at least, they will never completely get rid of the classic search engine type structure where you can't interact back and forth between the searches. So I still do believe that, yes, this is the future, right, for searches which you want more context on and interact between the things, but not entirely because, again, there will still be types of searches that will require you to go to the traditional ones. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Now, what's the principles of LLM SEO? And again, I know this sounds boring, but it's important context that I need to give you before we jump into the juicy stuff, okay? The principles of LLM SEO, right? Honestly, this is quite straightforward, right? People ask questions. You optimize for back and forth, okay? All these LLMs, right, the principle of them, right, is users like me and you ask questions, right? And the principles of the optimization, the search engine optimization for these LLMs is you optimize, for the back and forth. So you need to optimize your brand in a way where when someone asks a question in each one of these models or future models, right, you got to optimize for asked questions and also for a potential back and forth. Because most of us right now, when you use ChatGPT or Perplexity or Grok, you don't just ask one thing, right? You ask it one thing, then you follow up with a couple of questions, okay? It's not just a one-liner like Google or Bing. So you can optimize for questions and for the back and forth. And I'll show you how to do that, all that in a second here, okay? Those are basically the principles of LLM SEO, right? It's not anything revolutionary, okay? Now, how to do LLM SEO step by step, right? Well, you'll notice that when you search for stuff right here, and I'll give you tangible examples, right? They mention the biggest brands in a given niche. So if you search for what's the most tasty energy drink, most likely we're going to recommend Red Bull, Monster, right? It will mention the biggest brands in a given niche, right? If you search for the best AI writing tool, most likely we'll mention like Jasper and all these big venture-backed companies. Why? Because they're the biggest brands, and you'll notice me talking about this word very often because it's a keyword right here in a given niche. Okay, now that the theory is out of the way, let's actually give you some tangible examples with actual prompts. Okay, so first things first is you're gonna choose the prompts you wanna rank for. Actually not rank, but be recommended for, again, because these tools right here, these products that on the back end run LLMs, right, they are more of an interactive chat type back and forth basis than the classic Google search. For example, on Google, again, you get to search for something and 10 results will pop up and you click which ones you want. Again, with these products, again, the LLM backed type chats, which are the new wave of search engines, right? It's not like this, right? It is a much more interactive experience. Okay, so most people, right, optimize, not most people, but the smart people optimize for prompts. So here's an example, right? Well, for example, let's say, for example, your product is an AI writer, okay? Let's say you are an AI SEO writer, so an AI tailored for SEO, okay? So keywords you do want to rank for on Google and Bing, so the classic search engines would be, for example, AI writer, SEO AI writer for SEO, best AI writing tool, AI writer tools list with price, okay? Now, in terms of prompts, you want to do something more complex because, again, the experience of someone going into these ones is way different than someone going to this one. And you'll notice that some types of your searches you will go to Google and some types of your searches will go to these engines right here. Again, it will depend on the intent behind your search. If you want a bit more context, back and forth, talking, right, you'd go to these ones. And this is almost, I guess, by instinct now, and it will only become more and more like this. Again, some searches will go here, some will go here. And the search that will go here, the intent behind the search and the keywords and the long tail versions of the keywords essentially is way different than on here. Let me continue with the example. So again, the prompt, well, you'd optimize for this, right? While people on Google will search for this, people on these LLM engines will search for example, what's the best AI writing tool for SEO? Best AI auto-building software. Are AI writers safe for SEO? Question. Give me a list of AI writing tools and their prices. Now, here's an example. Like this. If you search just for AI writer on these LLMs, right, it doesn't know what to give you because it's too generic. There's too much ambiguity, right? Is he looking for a product recommendation? Does he want to know how AI writers work? Does he want to know if they're safe, right? Again, there's a lot of ambiguity, right? Well, if you search for this on Google, right, most likely will come off with product recommendations. And again, you search for this on Google. You'd never search for this on these LLMs. That's just how it works nowadays, right? You'd never search for this there because you know, right, because you've used it before, you know that if you just search for this, it's not enough context for it to know and give you a proper back and forth. You'll have to give it a second prompt, maybe a third prompt, right? If you just search AI writer, what happens if it gives you if it gives you info on how they work, right? You say, oh no, don't tell me how they work. Tell me, give me a list of some. Tell me the prices. So inherently, right, you know that not to search for these keywords with a lot of ambiguity on these types of new search engines. So you'll search for prompts. What a prompt is essentially is basically a long tail version of your keywords with a bunch more context. Because again, if you don't give it context, it doesn't know what you're looking for. It doesn't know if you're looking for a product recommendation, if you want to know how they work, if you know if you want to know if they're safe, right? So you want to give it exact prompts. Again, if you search for this on Google, AI writer tools list with price, right here, there's a couple of results. There's even this one result right here, which is basically a list of these. However, this is not it's not good enough, right? If you search for the same thing, right, this one, AI writer tools list with price, or give me a list of AI writing tools and their prices, right? It will give you the same thing, but then you can go back and forth, right? And you can even say, give me a table of results, right? So again, the intent behind the search is different, right? Here, if you search for this on Google, or actually right here, if you search for this keyword on Google, you're just looking for a list and not much context. If you search for this on Grok or GPT or Perplexity, you know by default that you're going to ask it a second question. Because again, how many times have you asked only once one thing to these things right here. Most people ask multiple things. It's a back and forth experience. And that's one of the main reasons and the main differentiators, I guess, of the SEO nowadays. That is, for LLM SEO, you got to optimize for back and forth. And that comes with, first thing, optimizing for prompts. Okay, and I'll go over how to do that. I just want you to understand the difference here. Hopefully this is making sense so far. Again, most people here, it's one query search, right? Excuse me, most people here is a one-time search. Most people here is a multiple back and forth type search. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Now, again, you got to choose the prompts you want to rank for. Okay, usually it's going to be stuff like this. But again, you can make a list out of it, and I'll give you some examples in a bit. Okay, then you got to optimize for brand mentions across the web. And this is, Google has been doing this for a long time now. Basically what this is have your brand mentioned anywhere you can. Google, Bing, YouTube videos, TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn. So become a brand. Google and all these other LLMs value brands, right? They recommend the most notorious brands in a certain niche, right? So it's about how well your brand is perceived. How big is your brand perceived by all these people? All these LLMs and all these search engines. So you don't even have to have the biggest brand, right? You can have, for example, this big brand making a lot of money, right? And then you can have this small brand making an even greater amount of money, right? And again, even though this brand is making more money, so more customers, more reliable, I guess, right? This one has a bigger brand. They make more noise on social. They're hyperactive on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, they're everywhere. And the thing is that by me saying active everywhere, it's a synonym of saying there's more brand mentions of them all across the web. And where do you think these models take their info from? Well, they search the web. And if they search and find more instances of this brand than this one, well, they'll perceive this one as bigger. Of course, not all the time, because of course, if this brand has some presence in the web, and if they talk about how many customers they have, well, and these LLMs see, okay, yeah, this brand there's less brand mentions, but they make more money. Either way, this is still going to be mentioned in the list if you ask it for a list. So my point here is that you don't necessarily need to be you don't necessarily want to be, actually, you want to be the bigger brand, but it's not just because you are the bigger brand, as in, not just because you make more money and more successful, that you're going to be recommended more times. The brands that are recommended more times are the brands that are bigger. And you become bigger by the number of mentions your brand has. And of course, by default, right, if you have more brand mentions, most likely you make a lot of money. So again, they're correlated, but they're not a causation. So there's correlation, but not causation. Hopefully it's making sense. Again, it's not just because you are the brand making the most money that you're going to be the most well-known one. Okay, and there's countless examples of that. So again, but note that of course, if you're a big brand in terms of notoriety, in terms of mentions online, well, most likely you're also going to be making a lot of money. Okay, but this is to say, and if we compare it on a more lower level, right, we have a lot of competitors maybe making more money than us, but because we're more notorious across the web, well, we're recommended more times and more often than some of the competitors, than some of our competitors making more money than us. Hopefully this makes sense. Now, third, in I guess this little point right here, and I'll give you a list of all the things you need to do, but third, is got to be coherent. So if you mention anywhere on the web that you're the best for XYZ, right, be coherent so you don't confuse these LLMs. Because again, they're pulling in info from all across the web. And if you're saying that you're the best product for plumbers and the best product for surgeons and the best product for, doctors, right, well, they're going to think of you as this very broad solution, great for all these different niches. And when someone is looking for a tailored solution, well, maybe these guys maybe the LLMs will not recommend your brand because they'll see you as this one-size-fits-all brand, right? Which again might be good for some of your prompts, but maybe you want to attract an audience that's just for plumbers. So again, don't confuse these LLMs. Don't put info across the web that you do all this stuff, that you're great for XYZ, that you have all these things, when maybe you don't, right? Again, this is more the classic search engine, Google search engine optimization, where you want to rank for a bunch of different keywords, even though they're maybe not very related with your niche. This can be detrimental for this new age of LLM SEO, because again, you're going to be confusing them, right? And these are not dumb, right? They know that if you're saying you're good at all things, right, they will recommend you as a broader solution, a generic solution, not a niche down solution, okay? Again, of course, if you're a mega broad product, well, of course, you're going to do that. But most products are and should be niche down. Okay, so be coherent. Okay, and of course, be coherent in saying that if you say that you do this, don't say that you don't do that. If somewhere along the lines that you say your software has XYZ feature, don't say you don't have it. And this happens a lot, by the way, because with software companies, they're usually developing features every single week or month, right? And in a blog post or in a comparison article or in these tool directories, some of these tool directories mention that your tool has this price and all these features, but then a week later, you drop your price, you add more features, so now this is incoherent with what you have on your blog. So we have two incoherent things these models are pulling in info from. Here it says the price is $10 a month, here it says it's $5. Here it says you have 50 features, here it says you have only 40. So it's pulling in incoherent info from across the web. Again, of course, they know how to filter and they know how to look at the dates, but still try to be as coherent as possible so as to not confuse these models. And you'll notice that they're confused when you do a bunch of searches on them and you know the brand you're talking about and they pull in info that's not really true. That happens a lot. So moving down with an actual live example and some prompts of what we're actually doing for our own brand. Okay, so here's our main prompt. And again, this is an example of my own tool, which is tryjournalist.com. It's an AI SEO writing tool that does a bunch of stuff, right? A bunch of features, a bunch of solutions, integrations, right? It's a complex product, okay? And so the main prompt is going to be this right here. What's the best auto blogging tool for SEO? So that's the question. The best qualifier, so it could be the cheapest, the most expensive, the most simpler, right? It depends on your product or niche, right? Auto blogging, so this is a feature, okay? Tool for industry niche or use case, okay? Could be for any different industry, use case, I mean, you get the point, right? So this is a prompt. What's the best auto blogging tool for SEO? Question, qualifier, feature, and niche industry use case, okay? So if I take this prompt right here, I'm gonna put it into all of these three LLMs. So let's just do ChatGPT, and let's do Perplexity, and let's do Grok, okay? Right, and let's see what they come up with. Right, again, all these pull in info from different places, so just note that the answers will be different, okay? So here you go. What's the best auto blogging tool? Okay, so it's gonna give me a context into what it is. Auto blogging tools can save you time, whatever, right? And then it gives me a list of a couple of tools. And this is still loading. Let's see what Perplexity has for me. Okay, perfect. So first things first, you'll notice that it pulled in a video. This is a video of mine, right? So this essentially is a video that links to my site. Okay, so it pulled in a video. So it's taking an info from, again, all across the web. Not just Google, but it's taking info from LinkedIn, YouTube, anything that's indexable, they can gather info from, okay? And right here, we are being promoted here. So brand mentioned right here, Journalist AI, okay? Journalist AI, again, it's pulled in info from our site, again, because we have a blog post that talks about this. And again, I'll give you exactly the step-by-step on how to do it, but I just want to show you first how things work, okay? And again, it's basically recommending our product, and then other notable tools, it recommends a couple of our competitors, okay? Now, this is a very important section right here, which we'll go over in a bit. Now, Grok, so here we go. What's the best auto blogging tool for SEO? Competitor of ours, right here, competitor of ours, and there we go. This is our brand mentioned right here, Journalist AI, so we're mentioning here in the text at the list, okay? And then finally, ChatGPT, let's see what it did. So ChatGPT didn't actually recommend our brand, so I cannot find it anywhere here. Not an issue though, again, this is just for one prompt. Now, I'll go back to this. I just want to go over here, very important thing, which is the secondary prompts. Again, I'll give you a list of all the steps down here, which we're doing to right here, all the 7 steps. They're very important, which again, will give you the step-by-step on how to actually make your business show up. But I think all the stuff that I talked about here is very important for context. Okay, so let's just break down what I mean by the secondary prompts. Okay, so secondary prompts, again, you know by now that the way users interact with these LLMs, these new search engines, is not just by asking one thing, it's by asking multiple things and doing it back and forth. Okay, so now that our main prompt is this, and it was recommended 2 out of 3 times on these LLMs, so Grok recommended us, Perplexity as well, excuse me, the only one that didn't was ChatGPT, at least again for this main prompt. I want to take a look at secondary prompts. And again, these aren't just random. You'll notice that in my 7 steps, right, you'll optimize your site and your brand to show up for this. So for example, let's say, for example, we'd go here to ChatGPT, the one that did not recommend our product, and ask it, for example, well, actually, let me just scroll up right here because I think the reason why is because of the model I'm choosing. Let's just do 4.0, and let's just hit this again. Because if I'm not mistaken, this one, I don't think it takes live info. I'm not too sure. Yeah, there we go, right? It was the first one. It may have been because of the model I chose, so just take that into account. Again, most people will just use this one if I'm not mistaken, so it's great for most questions. So there we go. We are the first brand mentioned, so we asked what's the best auto-logging tool for SEO. There we go, we're the first one right here. So we were recommended by all these three models. Again, there's a lot of nuance here. If you choose different models, the answers might be different. As you saw there, the answers were different. And again, because all these take info from different sources, anywhere on the internet, and they might put different weights on info, for example, coming from LinkedIn. Maybe GPT puts more weight on info coming from Reddit. Maybe Grok puts more info on what people talk about on Twitter. So you might want to mention your brand more on Twitter. Again, all this stuff is recommending our brand. And so now I want to go over the actual 7 steps we're taking to have it so our brand is recommended here on the LLMs. So first things first is, again, actually, the main takeaway here is LLMs only have the info you give them. Okay, so give them more info than your competitors do. That's basically it. Again, all these LLMs, right, they take info from all around the web to feed them, right? They feed them, right? And then it'll give you answers, right? That's an A, based on all the info they collected, right? And so if you have more info online about your competitors, well, the more likely you are to be mentioned or recommended by one of these LLMs. Again, as you saw here, right, we were recommended first. Here, again, we were the only one recommended right here on all this. Of course, there were some secondary things right here. And on here, we were again, I mentioned as well as the third one. So the way in which you do this, and I guess the main takeaway from this video is LLMs only have the info you give them, okay? They cannot make up info, right? They take info from somewhere on the web. So you got to put as much info as you can on the web. And so here's how you do it. Well, first things first, 1 through 4 is the classic SEO strategy, which is make the homepage on your site with a clear message. For example, for our tool right here, right, we are the AI SEO writer that auto publishes your blog, right? And again, we have a bunch more info right here about what our product does. And we even have down here, right, there we go, automatic blog publishing, automatic with Autoblog, right? We even have here down here a bunch of FAQs that, again, give extra relevancy to our site. And again, this is the classic SEO thing. You got to optimize your site with a clear message, optimize for your keywords, right? Pages for each feature, right? What we have right here, which we have a dedicated page for each feature. For example, we have an AI news writer. And we have a dedicated page for this feature. It talks about what it does, what it doesn't do, its pricing, all this stuff. It goes over in depth on what it does. Again, we have pages for every single feature. Again, all this, what we're doing here was we're giving as much context as we can to these LLMs that will eventually scrape our site for info. So they'll know that, okay, these guys have this feature, this one, this one, this one. They have all of this stuff right here. Okay, same thing right here for the niche, right? Actually, I didn't mention it here, but same thing for the use cases. So solutions, right? We have solutions for e-commerce, for agencies, for startups. So if people are prompting themselves and asking, hey, what's the best AI writer for local businesses? Boom. Oh, there we go. The LLMs read through our site and found, okay, these guys have a dedicated page for this, and they're the best because X, Y, Z, all this stuff. So again, solution pages for agencies, startups, local businesses, e-commerce, right? Same thing for integrations. Again, you got to give it as much info as you can. And this is the classic, right, SEO strategy, right? Yeah, the use cases page right here, sorry, excuse me. And then blog posts, right? Blog posts with alternative, comparison, and informational pages. This is one of the biggest, one of the most classic SEO strategies right here. I'll leave a link for this video down below, which basically goes over my own, this SaaS right here, which is here, this SaaS SEO strategy for the classic SEO strategy for showing up on Google and Bing. That being said, this classic SEO strategy, the efforts I put into this bleed into the results that are shown in these LLMs right here. Because again, they take info from anywhere in the web. And if I have pages on my site, right, comparing my product with others, talking about alternatives, right? And I'll show you here an example. For example, during this, if we go here to the blog, and just open this one right here, right? We have a blog post, for example, we have a bunch of these, right? 10 best, this is a competitor of ours, alternatives. We talk about what the competitor is, right? What they are, right? Their fee, is their free, their pricing, their features, right? Key features, okay, there we go. And then we talk about, okay, best alternatives, boom, our own product, and a bunch more. So now when the AIs are skimming through our site, because this ranks on Google as well, and this is indexed on Google, when they're skimming through Google and getting all this information, you'll know, okay, so here's 10 alternatives to this tool, right? But again, we're giving info, we're giving context, we're positioning ourselves as an alternative to this tool. We have a bunch more blog posts like this. For example, we have this one right here, I think this latest one, where we tried 30 different AI writers. So there's a world in which people are searching for prompts related with this. So for example, testing AI writers or best AI writer based on testing, right? Based on results. And we have this long video, right? Which again, the LLMs taking the transcript and take all the info and take all this right here into account to recommending our tools and all the other tools. We're giving input to these LLMs. And by the way, now on YouTube, you can enable a setting to let LLMs, I guess, read through the transcripts of your video and use your information, to the results they provide, to enrich the results they provide. This is a very new feature that only showed up, I think, 2 weeks ago, which I, of course, enabled, right, into all our YouTube channels. Because again, as I said before, right, some of these LLMs recommend your YouTube channels. And so if these LLMs can access this video transcript where I talk about what our product is, what it isn't, all this feature, and maybe I haven't written a blog post about this, or a tweet about this, or a LinkedIn post about this, well, it doesn't matter because I've made a YouTube video about this, which the LLMs can read through what I'm saying there. It does recommend my own site, okay? And so, again, this is the classic SEO strategy right here, which again, I'll leave a link down below for how to implement this strategy because it's super important. It actually does work. But again, 1 through 4 is the classic SEO strategy. And please do watch this video, which goes over step by step how I implement the number 4, which again is writing blog posts with alternatives, speaking about competitors, talking about their own features, right? Because even if you don't show up, right, your site can show up for your competitors' brand names. For example, in this blog post, I talk about this competitor, right? This has great info about my competitor. It talks about what they are, right? It talks about if they're free, talks about their pricing, has links to their site, talks about their bundles, talks about all the stuff, talks about all their key features. So if someone is looking to learn about this competitor, searching for on these LLMs, well, the LLMs can give info on this, but the source, right, this thing right here, which they give out the sources, the source can be our own blog post. So again, you can rank for your competitors' brand names and keywords because the info you're providing to these LLMs is so good that they have no choice to take in that info. Hopefully this is making sense. Again, in all essence, just write a blog post about your competitors, and if people are searching info about your competitors on these LLMs, well, if you have the best info about the competitors, well, these LLMs will give info on the search query that they're searching for here, and as the reference right here, they'll link to your blog post. Okay, same thing for Grok. They give you links to the blog posts. Hopefully this is making sense. So it's not just about optimizing for your own stuff, it's optimizing for your competitor stuff. Because if you can optimize for their stuff better than them, well, yes, when people are looking for their brand names on these LLMs, they'll get info about their brand names, but the reference where that info was taken from was our own blog post. So people then click the reference, go to our site, read about the competitor, and then, oh, wait, this is a blog post about alternatives. What's this? So again, another way to gain more traction. So don't optimize just for your stuff, optimize for their stuff. And this is what all this number 4 strategy in this 30-minute video is all about. It's based on that, okay? Creating alternative pages, comparison pages, and informational pages. Oh, I forgot to mention that down here in Perplexity, you'll see that there's a couple of related queries right here, or which you can click, right, and expand on it, right? Again, how does Journalist AI compare to this competitor in terms of SEO optimization, right? And it's taking the info from info on the web, right? Again, all this stuff right here, it's not made up, right? It takes these questions because there's info on the web based on them. So again, if you can optimize for some of these related questions, right, and create maybe blog posts, create YouTube videos, create content about these questions, well, they're going to show up here, and the content of such questions will be taken from your own site, right? There you go. They even recommended one of my videos. So again, optimize for queries people could search for, right? Whether that's features of yours, comparison, doesn't matter, right? Optimize for that stuff because again, it will prompt you to keep on going with the conversation, right? Again, multiple things right here, Journalist AI, whatever, right? There's a bunch of stuff right here, which again, takes info from our own site because we have info on that right here. This is taking info from our own domain, right? It's taking info from our own videos, okay? So none of this info is random right here. So you gotta optimize for questions people are asking and think about second tier questions people might ask. Okay, that's it. Okay, now 5 through 7. Number 5 is active branded social channels. So not just having social channels of your brand, not just having Twitter or LinkedIn, having stuff that are posted actively. So Twitter, post on Twitter, YouTube, post on YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit. So have these social channels, but actively post on them. Fresh new content, right? Again, these LLMs are looking for fresh info. They're looking for what's hot right now, what's the best right now. Okay, again, they have direct access to the internet right now, and if they see, right, they see the number of brand mentions, they see this brand being mentioned heavily on LinkedIn, right? They see stuff going viral. Again, you gotta be active as much as you can, at least more than your competitors. Okay, then active non-branded social mentions. This is basically other people recommending your brand. Okay, so again, you have all your branded social accounts mentioning you, and then other people recommending your brand. Maybe pay influencers on Twitter. Maybe again, other people that have used your product, writing reviews on Reddit, writing reviews on a blog post, recording reviews on YouTube, talking about it on LinkedIn, talking about it on TikTok. So active non-brand mentions. Again, you notice that all of these, right, are all about brand. Because the bigger the brand, as I said before, the bigger the brand right here, the bigger the mention of the brand, the more recommended you'll be. Okay, and finally, backlinks. Well, what a backlink is essentially in terms of SEO is mentions or links about your brand in other authoritative sites. For example, a Forbes linking back to your site, right? Huffington Post linking back to your site. I don't know, CNN, right? Linking back to your site, right? A big YouTube channel linking back to your site, right? A big influential LinkedIn guy with all his post index linking back to your site. So backlinks, brand mentions. By the way, I'll leave a link for this down below, which again, just show you the impact of links, right? We built 29 backlinks to this site right here, and the traffic went from around 400 to 1600 in just a few weeks. So this is the power of links. Excuse me. I'll leave this case study down below in the description, and also leave you a link on how to build links. So if you open this up right here, it's basically a free guide on how to build backlinks. So let me just open this right here. It is a 3-hour course, right, that teaches you how to build backlinks that rank a site. This is a 40-minute video going over what backlinks are, excuse me, how to build them, right, what to look for. Right, this is a 22-minute video on how to build all these backlinks. This is a 15-minute video on which type of backlinks I build, and this is the case study. So if you watch all this stuff, you'll know how to build backlinks that have the exact effects you saw right here on this case study, because the links that I show you how to build in this free course are the exact links I built to this client that saw this amazing increase in 400 to about 1600 a month in monthly organic search traffic. Okay, so that's the final one. And again, main takeaway here is, again, LLMs only have the info you give them. So give them more info than what your competitors do. Pretty straightforward, right? Hopefully this was valuable. I know I spoke a bit too fast, and I maybe went a bit over two complex topics, or wasn't able to properly explain myself. Hopefully I was. Again, to sum it up, these LLMs take info from all around the world, right? All around the web. So you gotta make sure you get your mention in every single place. And then you gotta make sure you optimize for prompts, not necessarily for keywords, because again, the way in which people search in these new AI search engines, right, these things right here, is not the same way they search on Google or Bing, right? They search for prompts because they know, right, and you know as well, that they're not just there to search once. Most likely, if they want to search once for one thing, they go on Google. But if they know they want to have a talk back and forth, they'll search more than once. And because of that simple thing, that simple change in mindset of, oh, I want to search more than once, I want to have a conversation, the prompts they use are way, way different than the ones they use on Google. Again, they're more or less the same thing. They're essentially keywords, long tail versions of the keywords, but I want to call them prompts just to appreciate them. Because again, if they were to do the same thing that they do on Google, right, let's just search, for example, for AI writer, well, there's a lot of ambiguity. They don't know, the AI doesn't know if they're looking for product recommendation, if they're looking for how AI writers work, if they're looking for if they're safe, right? That Google doesn't know, okay? So that's why there's a big difference here. And so the way in which you optimize for these stuff right here is through all these steps right here, right? Giving as much information about you and about the competition as you possibly can. About you, because again, it's the only way that these guys know how to recommend you, and about your competition, because, well, if these LLMs can recommend your competition, and then the source of such recommendation is your own site where you talked about them, well, it's another way to have people come to your traffic to learn more about this stuff. All right, so hopefully that was valuable in understanding how LLMs work and how you apply SEO to them. It's not really anything super special. It's always about doing the classic SEO, and then by default, if you have a proper classical SEO, you'll have a great LLM or AI-based SEO. And so now I want to play. Now I want to play another clip on how you leverage LLMs, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, etc., specifically, for a local SEO. Because it's different, right? It's different things we want to achieve here. And so it's going to be a clip more tailored solely to local SEO. So play the clip. So how do you get your business to be recommended or cited in these AI search engines? Let's use Perplexity as an example, right? I just gave it a prompt saying, give me the number of the cheapest plumber in Dallas, Texas. And it gave me this phone number, right? It gave me a few sources and recommended that I also check the maps. Okay, now how do I make it so my business number shows up here for this prompt, right? And all possible variations of this prompt, because this prompt is simple, right? Give me, is what they want, the phone number of the cheapest plumber in Dallas. So it is plumber, the service, the location, service, modifier, could be cheapest, most expensive, most luxurious, doesn't matter, right? The modifier, and what I want. I want the phone number, right? So with these four things, you can do an infinite number of prompts, right? For example, my house burned, or my toilet is clogged. I need the phone number of the cheapest plumber. Right now, I live in Dallas, Texas. So that's the exact same intent, right? But the prompt is different. So how do you make so that how do you make it that these AI search engines recommend your business for a multitude of search prompts that have the same intent? Well, I'll show you how. So again, note that there's a bunch of AI search engines, right? All these are LLM based, right? Large language model. Okay. And then the front end, right, is Perplexity, is ChatGPT, is Grok, the one from Twitter, right? So all these LLMs taking data from all across the web. Now, do note that different products, right, give certain weights to their data in different amounts. For example, ChatGPT is of course owned by Microsoft. So it's only natural that they'll factor in data from Bing with more relevancy. Okay, Twitter is owned by, Grok is owned by Twitter. So it's so natural that when you search for stuff, for example, what's the best AI writer for SEO? It's only natural that they'll give you, right, a lot of weight on social posts posted on X. Okay. Again, ChatGPT gives a lot of weight to the rankings, and there's a high correlation between the rankings on Bing and what they show you here on GPT. Again, only natural. It's not that they're biased towards information, because all of them gather the information from all the same places, right? They have access to the whole internet. It's just that they give different weights to the information from different sources. That's why the recommendations or the citations are different. Hopefully this makes sense. Okay. Now, you'll notice here that on Perplexity, okay, let me just close out of this. They have this little map right here. This is not a Google Maps, okay? This is done by a company called Mapbox, a big company, right? But they do not get their data from Google Maps. And this still, I can go here and find a local business, I can call it up, okay? Now, note that even though ChatGPT doesn't have this, or Google, Grok doesn't have this, it will be soon enough that they'll have like a certain map widget appear, right? This is just evolving so fast, right? This is how search will look like on these engines. Now, I need to be very careful with one thing, is that I don't think Google search will become obsolete, right? And if you want more of my thoughts behind that, go watch this video right here, because I cover why that is. People will still be searching on Google, right? It's just they'll use these AI search engines in a different way, because you'd never search for this on Google, right? Because Google is not a conversational type site, right? These platforms, GPT, Perplexity, are much more conversational. So after this prompt, right, you could say, yeah, but I want a business that's Black owned or women owned, or that's dog friendly. I don't know, right? It's much more conversational. On Google, you don't have that. So people will still be using Google, right? They'll just use Google and GPT or Perplexity that are different products in different ways. All this to say that I expect that all these AI search engines will have eventually a map solution like Perplexity, because they'll want to serve the local businesses. Okay, they'll want to serve local searches. Okay, now again, this isn't based on Google Maps, and ChatGPT's one will most likely be based on Bing's one, okay? And Grok, I have no idea, okay? Because they don't have any data on maps. Maybe they'll have some, Tesla data for Tesla maps, Apple maps, not too sure. All this to say that it's not just because you have your business on Google, so not just because you have your plumber and analyst, not just because you have your business listing here, your GMB listed here in Google My Business, right? Because this is a product from Google, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to show up here. Why? Because these guys get data in from OpenStreetMap, okay? Let me give you an example. So I asked it, where does Mapbox get their data from? What's the best way I, as a local business owner, can give it data about my business? So basically, they're getting data from OSM, OpenStreetMap, okay? They get data in from Foursquare, Yelp, Yellow Pages, okay? Hotfrog, all of these local business directories. So it's only fair that when users are doing a local search, right, for a plumber, that these LLMs will skim through the most trusted source for local businesses in the world, which is, of course, Yelp, right? And they'll skim through this, right? They'll then find what's relevant for the prompt you used, which in this case was, give me a local plumber in Dallas, the cheapest one. If I search, for example, give me a number of a plumber that does this specific type of service, drain clogging, or drain cleaning, right? It will find, it would read through the business name, the reviews, what the review said, the services section, and find, okay, is this business providing this specific type of service, right, that the user that's searching on my product actually wants me to give it info on. Hopefully this makes sense. So the way in which you show up here is just by, and in this case Perplexity, because you use Mapbox, is by putting your site listed in Yelp and making sure that you give it as much context as possible. Making sure you ask for reviews, making sure the people on the reviews say what the service was. You reply with info of what the service you did was. And I have this video right here, which goes over like a lot of local SEO stuff. It's like a 5-hour course. And this one right here, which just goes over reviews, which goes over the whole thought process behind reviews. It's not just about getting reviews. It's about what they say and how you reply to them. Because the keywords you reply, the things you see on the reviews, all these will be read by these AI search engines, right? And all the info they'll give you right here, right? All this right here, this isn't here by mistake, right? This is here because they read through the info and found that this was the most relevant site for this. So, for example, let's say I have a business right here, my business, and I have 1,000 reviews, and all they say the same thing. This is the best rhinoplasty clinic for women in Dallas. I love my rhinoplasty surgery. I'm a woman and I love it. I'm a woman and I love doing my rhinoplasty here. I love doing my rhinoplasties for all my women friends here, right? So these reviews are hyper relevant for service, rhinoplasty, for type women in Dallas. So the AI will know, okay, these guys are mega relevant for this. Well, let me just recommend this when someone searches for, I want to do a rhinoplasty in Dallas, okay? So it's all these little signals from the reviews, from the replies you put in the reviews, from the info on your site, of course, right? The info on your site needs to be relevant, right? This is like classic SEO, right? When you search for Dallas plumber, this site shows up because, this is relevant for SEO, right? And so the info on your site also needs to be relevant. The info on your socials also need to be relevant. So there isn't that much of a difference between how you do SEO for the classic search engines like Google and Bing and how you do SEO for AI-based LLM search engines, right? Because the principles of SEO, if you do proper SEO, right, a lot of the things you do here, like link building, having a proper brand, the socials, the info on your site, the classic SEO, all the things you do here will by default make you be optimized for showing up on these AI search engines, right? Because again, don't forget, these engines don't just pull data out of their ass, right? They get data from what's online, meaning your site, your local business listings on Yelp, your socials, right? All this stuff. And then of course they phrase in the data and they give more weight to different data based on who they're owned by. It's just the reality, okay? And yeah, that's basically it, right? That's how you go about ranking on here. Make sure to put yourself on Yelp. Make sure to put yourself on Foursquare. But if you're doing local SEO properly, you've already done this by default. I just want to give you the behind the scenes on how this would actually be done, because I haven't seen any when talking about this before. And I mean, it's super relevant, super important that we understand how these things are done. Now, there's another video I need you to go watch if you want to learn in depth the principles of the classic local SEO. I know it's a long video, it's a 2-hour long video, but this teaches you every single thing in specific about local SEO. Because again, this is all interconnected, right? Again, the classic local SEO will have an impact on your rankings or mentions on these AI search engines. So please go watch this video if you have some doubts on how to do local SEO. This is literally like a Bible. It teaches you every single thing you need to do. If you apply what's taught in these 2 hours, I mean, you'll rank on the classic Google and Bing maps and by default as well on the AI engine. So again, I'll leave the link down below for this one as well. It's a full local SEO course teaching you all the basics. Super, super important that you watch this. Okay, I know it's a lot of stuff, but if you want to learn, you gotta learn all this stuff. So yeah, I'll leave it down below. So please, please, please don't forget to watch this. I'll teach you exactly what you need to do to rank on Google Maps, Bing Maps, and by default be positioned on GPT and all these AI engines. So give it a go. All right, there you go. That's done as well. And now I want to play the final one, which is a little small case study with a tangible, actionable step-by-step on what we did to rank or to be mentioned or cited specifically on Grok, Twitter's AI engine. So I'm going to play. It's a short clip again. The whole goal of this is to get you to think about how we do stuff with actual things being done, like on real business that's ours. So I'm going to play that clip here. It's the final one about LLM SEO. So play the clip. So I'm ranking first on Grok in just 2 hours. And here's how. I say ranking, but this is more of being cited or being recommended, because with these new AI search engines, it's not really about ranking, it's about citations. And here you go. This is the post. As you can see, it was posted 2 hours ago. And I did this as a test. I made a tweet saying, this is the best AI SEO writer for 2025 is Journal CI. Here's why. Linked it to a video. Posted 2 hours ago. Okay, this was posted, as you can see, 2 hours ago. And then my search query, my prompt was, what's the best AI SEO for 2025? There you go. And the source was the post that I wrote. And of course, because Twitter owns Grok, of course, Grok is biased where it gets the info from. So not only gives us a recommendation here, so a link here, as well as a link down here, posts highlights on X about Journal CI. And this is just from one post, right? Posted 2 hours ago, literally 2 hours ago. Right? Just imagine if you can consistently be posting on Grok every day, every week, right? Eventually, Grok will be recommending you. Again, 2 hours, ranking first in just 2 hours. Super simple. Now, I mentioned they are biased. This is because Grok, again, Twitter owns Grok, so it's only natural that the sources Grok puts the most value in are Twitter sources. For example, ChatGPT, well, there's a high correlation between your rankings on Bing and the suggestions here on GPT. By the way, we rank first as well for this search prompt and a bunch of others. Perplexity, for example, Perplexity gives more weight to YouTube. There's a lot of the search prompts on Perplexity link out to YouTube. Again, we rank first on Perplexity too. Boom, citation right here, citation right here, citation right here, citation right here. And again, GPT as well, we rank first right here. So citation right here from the source, and we're right here. If you want to learn exactly how I do this step by step, go watch this video right here and this one as well. But this video you're watching right now is just for Grok and how we are able to rank first in 2 hours, literal 2 hours. And I think this was even faster, right? I think as soon as the post got indexed, and because we have a verified account, I think having a verified account does help. We pay for this, I think $20 a month, not too sure, does help because, of course, just like Google values more authoritative sites and more authoritative sites rank higher on Google, well, Grok will value more info coming from trustworthy, authoritative, verified sources. So that's why we're here. Again, 2 hours. Super simple. And so give it a go, right? Write a bunch of tweets on an account based off of search prompts you want to rank for or be cited for and see what happens, because it works for us, and I'll give it a go. I'll do a bunch more prompts based off of, I'll do a bunch more tweets based off potential queries I think could be search prompts. Like, for example, I'll do a tweet on, I'll even do it live and I'll even record a video, or you can give it a go once you've watched it. Oh, never mind, I'm not logging into the account. Never mind. But yeah, just make a post on this and see what it gives you, because it just worked for us. And marketing is all about arbitrage. While this is working, go out and give it a go, because it just works. Plain and simple. That's how you rank first on Grok. Try it out, give it a go, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, it's me again. Just want to remind you that I have this done for you service where I will do your SEO for you. Again, like I said before, I guarantee a 25% increase in organic search traffic over 90 to 180 days, or you don't pay. So I'll come in, I understand who your customer is, what their pain points are, what's your competitors, what you sell, etc., and build this tailored SEO strategy that will get you more traffic guaranteed, okay? Whether that's through building backlinks or building blog pages or building feature pages or optimizing what you already have in place, right? Optimizing your schema markup, your technical SEO on page. I'll just grow your business as if it was my business, okay? So it's a fully done for you, hands-off service where I'll come in and guarantee 25% more traffic. So again, it's going to be the very first link in the description. Check it out if you want. If not, I'll let you keep watching. Cheers. Okay, so now I know we covered a lot of things, but hopefully the LLM side of things is now more or less in the bag, so you understand like the concept behind it, how it works, and also as well you saw some of these examples, so now you can apply this to your business. Now, of course, there's always a lot of nuance to this, excuse me, and it's always simple, never easy. But hopefully, this was good enough info to get you to get going. And so now, to finish off this video, I want to go over link building, which is, again, one of the 3 pillars of SEO, which I think is very important. Again, if you feel like there's something missing, please check all the resources in the description. They are going to link you to other YouTube videos where I teach some of these concepts a bit more in detail. Excuse me. For example, I'll leave a video that goes into detail on on-page SEO. Okay, so and a bunch more that I've mentioned all throughout this long video. So please go watch them, because these are like a puzzle. These are multiple pieces. I'm giving you all the pieces, right? I try to put them all like on this video, but I mean, there's some pieces that aren't here, which are below in the description. So please click the videos and go watch them. So you're able to basically form the whole puzzle and have more or less of a roadmap, more than hopefully what you already have right now. So I'm going to play a couple of clips of link building, and I want to start by first showing you a few results, because a lot of people know that they need links, but not a lot of people like actually build them. And so I want to show you first a video on the results, and then a literal step-by-step on how to build backlinks. I'm going to show you how to build 2 types of backlinks, which are the most, biggest bang for your buck. So the effort you put in terms of money or time versus the outcome, i.e. the return that they get you in the rankings, is the highest, okay? Which are guest posts and niche edits. But again, don't worry, I'm going to explain all this right now. So play the clip. Right, we are here. And so the very first thing I want to show you before any tutorial is some results, right? Take a look at this one. This company went from around 0, essentially, to over 10,000 in monthly organic search traffic, mostly with link building. So we built 9 links between August and September this year, a mix of guest posts and link insertions. Don't worry about this. I'll let you know, and I'll explain step by step what these are and why you should be building these exact type of links, because there's a lot of types of links you can build out. In my opinion, based on my data, this is the best type of links you can be building, okay? So traffic went from around 1K to 10K in just 30 days. This is the power of link building, combined, of course, with on-page and technical SEO. Here's another one down here, right? 0 to 6,000 in just a couple of weeks, right? This was 46 links per month. I'll go over what this is, the R40, and I'll go over, again, the types of links, but I just want to show you real quick the power of links in increasing the search traffic, 0 to 6,000 in monthly organic search traffic. Here's another one, bigger company, more established one, 10K to 16K. Again, you can pause the video here if you want to look at the results in a bit more detail. Here's another one, 2x traffic in 90 days from here to here, 5 to 6 links per month, right, from February to June this year. Okay, so these are recent results, not years back, right? This is today, happening today. Here's another one, 3K, 10K, a couple weeks. And here's another one. This was a bit of an older one, but from 0 to 2K and 10K in MRR. And the results were so impressive, and SEMrush commented saying impressive results, because I mean, the amount of time it took for him to grow the traffic, right, was insane, okay? And so this is the power of links. Here's a bunch more. You can pause the video if you want to look at these. My goal here is just to show you as an intro that link building actually works, and not just years back, but it works right now, today, and companies and your competitors are using it today to rank their sites. And so with that said, let's move on to the types of backlinks you want to build, because you can't achieve these results with just some regular backlinks. You need the most powerful backlinks. And so the types of links you want to build are these 2, guest posts and niche edits. So you might have heard about these ones, but guest posts are essentially links placed on new posts. Let's say, for example, I find this amazing website, super powerful, super relevant, right? Because these are the 2 main things you want with links, but I'll go over that in a second here. You want to be looking at power as well as relevancy, but either way, let's say you find this site, and I'll go over exactly how to find these sites, but let's say you find this site and you want to place a link on the site, right? A guest post is a link placed on a new post. So these guys, right here, this brand, will create a new post on their blog, on their marketing pages, and link out to your site, right? A link to your site. That's a guest post, a post as a guest. Now in niche edit, it's similar, right? It's similar in the sense that the link also comes from a page on the site, but it's a link placed on an existing post. Now they differ in the sense that a guest post is again a new page on the site. A niche edit comes from a page that's already been on the site for a long time. It's an aged article, an aged page, and oftentimes already indexed in Google and sometimes even getting some traffic. So these are the differences between the two. They're similar again, but different at the same time. And this, throughout the years, honestly, is the best combination that brings us the most results. And all the stuff you see right here, this stuff, all this is a combination of both niche edits, right, and guest posts, right? The two most powerful types of links. If you want to learn what other types of links there are, I'll leave a link down below in the description for a course teaching all this stuff in more detail. But again, with these two, you should be all set. Now, you might be wondering, what type of anchor text should I be using, right? The anchor text is the little text you click, right, to go to the site. What should this be? Because it can be a lot of things, right? It can be all this, in fact, right? It can be, let's say right here, an example, right? Let's say my site is this one, bakersbrothersplumbing.com, right? My main keyword would be Plumber Dallas. So this is the main keyword, the keyword you want to rank for the most, right? Now, we have a lot of stuff. We have branded anchors, we have naked link anchors, generic anchors, partial match, long tail, and exact match, right? These are all options that can exist here in your anchor text, right? Let's look at this example. For example, again, my branded anchor would be my company name, right? With capital letter or not, right? All capitals, all small, company name plus company, right? Brand names plus company, right? These are all branded anchors, right? Your brand name, as I mentioned. Then we have naked link anchors. So this is literally just your URL, right? With the HTTPS or not, right? Naked link anchors. Then we have generic anchors like click here, learn more, visit our site, see our services, so generic stuff, right? Then you have the partial match or long tail versions of your main keyword. So if your main keyword is Plumber Dallas, a partial match or a long tail version will be Plumber in Dallas. Best plumber in Dallas, right? Number one plumber Dallas, right? Plumbing company in Dallas. So variations of your main keyword, but a long tail version of that exact keyword, excuse me. And then of course your exact match, Plumber Dallas is your main one. Now again, all of these branded, naked, generic, partial, or exact, you can use here when in your anchor text. But the trick here is to know, okay, when to use each ones. And this is what I do, right? This is my rule of thumb, right? I use branded anchors 70% of the time, right? It just looks more natural, like, because if you're just building links manually, right, organically, right, most of your links will come from your brand name, just how it works, right? Then naked URL, right? Then generic, right? Partial match, and only around 1% would be exact match anchors, right? Because the issue is if you flip this around, if you build most of your links with, so if you build like exact match anchors around with 70% of, if 70% of your links are built with exact match anchors, most likely you're gonna get penalized. So watch out for this. Again, you don't need to follow this like step by step, right? Exactly these numbers, but use this as a rule of thumb, meaning that brand anchors, if you go to Ahrefs or any other tool if you go to Backlinks, right, you should have your branded anchors be way more than your exact match anchors or your partial match, okay? Again, this is just a rule of thumb, right? Now, when do I use each, right? Because you can use this, right? But you don't necessarily need to use them on niche edits and guest posts. You can use them on all the other types of links I mentioned before, right? Here's what I do, right? Here's where I use each. Again, if you want to learn how to build each of these unique types of links, because all these right here are different types of links, right? I've just spoken about the niche edits and the guest posts, right here. But if you want to learn how to build these ones, again, I'll leave a link down below in the description how I'll build all of these, okay? But just know that here's my breakdown basically on how you use anchors for each type of link. And essentially, if you look at this, is the less the anchor text has meaning, right? So the branded has less meaning than the exact match, right? I use them on the least powerful links. So for the exact match anchors, like the exact keyword, right? I use them on the big boy links, like PBN links, niche edits, and the most powerful links. And oftentimes also, I use guest posts right here, right? The point here is that if you are investing, because these links are more expensive, right, than just links from social media. These are basically links you can build for free, right? If you're investing this much time and money in building these powerful links, right, you want to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck. That's leveraging and using, right, your exact match and partial matches on these more expensive, more powerful links. Not to say you can't use your exact match on a social media link. I mean, you can, but it can be like a waste of time, right? Now, next up is the structure, right? How do I build this link building structure? Now, you don't just want to build links to your homepage, right? Most links should come to the homepage so it looks natural, right? But you also want to make sure you build links to your money pages, right? These are the pages that let's say, for example, you have a service, right? A service business, right, is where people can call you to book an appointment or something. If you have an e-commerce store, a physical product, right, it's where people can buy the product, right? Many pages are basically the opposite of blog posts, right? A blog post is a page where you're teaching the person something, and of course it links out to the money page to create this stack where eventually people get introduced to your brand via a blog post that ranks on Google. They click through it to get introduced to your brand. They go to your money page and they buy something, right? But the money pages are basically like the CTA, the call to action pages. And you want to be building backlinks to all these pages, to the home page, to the money page, to the individual blog post page, and making sure these pages interlink between each other so that the link juice flows through. So that when you build backlinks to this blog post, it links to this money page, so the link, quote unquote, link juice flows through this page and then to the other one. Okay, so don't just build links to the homepage. Make sure most of them come to the homepage, but make sure that you build links to all of your pages in a way that makes sense, of course, and link out the pages internally with a proper internal linking structure. Then comes the fun part, finding relevant sites with great metrics that we want links from. Now, it's very important. I highlighted here relevant and metrics for two reasons. Firstly, relevant is if your site is about, let's say you sell water bottles, right? If you sell water bottles, you want links coming into your site from other relevant sources about water bottles, right? You don't want links from dog-based sites or cars or motorcycles or paintings, right? You want relevance. You want to link, right? If your site sells water bottles, right? You want as many links from water bottle related avenues, right? Whether that's Wikipedia or this blog that just talks about water, or this governmental agency that talks about water, right? Or this one that talks about bottles, right? You don't want links from guys selling cars or sites selling dogs or selling paintings, because yeah, these can be powerful, but they're not relevant, right? And you want to have a mix of relevancy, right, as well as great metrics, right? So the best backlink you can have is one that's both powerful, right? Powerful coming from the metrics and relevant coming from the relevancy. So try and find a mix of both. Now, this oftentimes is not possible, right? You're gonna have to either choose power over relevancy or relevancy over power. But whenever you can, right, try and find a link that's both powerful and relevant. That's the single biggest thing. Now, how do you find these sites? Well, the very first thing you can do is just go to Ahrefs or any other tool and paste your competitor's URL here. Go out, type your keywords on Google. So to go to Google, right, type in your keywords, right, and see the top 10 sites who are ranking for your keywords, right? Because those are your competitors, right? Those guys are ranking for the keywords you want to rank for. Take those 10 sites, paste them here, go to the backlinks right here, click backlinks and see their backlinks, right? See the sites they're ranking for, they have links from, right? Make a list, use Google Sheets, use Excel, make a list, right? And look at all these sites. Then filter through and see, okay, out of all these sites, which ones are actually relevant and which ones have great metrics. Ideally, you'll be looking at a DR, a domain rating of at least 20, bare minimum. Anything below that isn't really like a very good site. So look at this and search for the DR metric right here, DR 40, domain rating, okay? Anything below that, I mean, not really good. Now, if you can find relevancy and great metrics, then go for those links. And when I say go for those links, you simply do this, right? You go to the site, email the site owner asking if they accept payment for backlinks, right? Then ask them what their processes are, right? Literally just email them, hey, I noticed you have a link, you link out to this guy, right? How much do you charge for a link placement? How much do you charge per guest post, per niche edit, right? Ask them, get a conversation going, right? And pay them to do that, basically. Wait for confirmation, payment, and waited for it to be live. That's basically it, right? It's nailing down this super quick. It's basically it. Okay, that was pretty cool. And now I want to give you the step-by-step. So it's going to be a bit of a long clip going over the step-by-step on how to build these links, quite literal step-by-step. So let's break it down. I want to show you step-by-step how you can build literally unlimited backlinks using AI 100% for free, okay? These ideally will rank your site first and fast. The links sort of will look like this, right? These are actually quality links, not just some shady type of links. You're actually going to be building valuable links that actually move the needle and rank your site higher. Now, the types of links we're going to be building, I'm going to teach you how to build, again, for free, unlimited with AI, are guest posts and niche edits, or they're also called link insertions. Now, quick overview, what are these two? So a guest post essentially is where this is your site right here, right? And there's this site, let's say your site is about dogs, right? There's this blog about dogs too, right? And you reach out to them, right? Because they have multiple pages on their site, multiple blog posts, they get a lot of traffic, right? About dogs. And you reach out to them and ask them, listen, how much do you charge to have a blog post written about XYZ and write it all for me, add images, add videos, add links, right? And link back to my site, right? This is a guest post, right? You are posting as a guest on their site. And for that, they ask you for money, right? That's a guest post, a new blog post, right? Now, niche edits, link insertions are a bit different. It's where you, of course, reach out to a site still, but instead of asking them to write a whole new blog post, you just ask them to insert a link back to your site in an already existing blog post of theirs, right? Again, the difference is that with a guest post, you are writing a brand new piece of content, right? With the link insertion, or also called niche edits, you're inserting a link in an already existing article, right? That's the main difference. Now, they're both good, right? Link insertions are good because they supposedly already are indexed. They're already posts with traffic, with authority, right? And you link out to your site, again, already indexed, it's great. Guest posts are great because they're also a new information, right? You're posting new information, which is also good. So both work. I recommend building both, right? That's what we do. So yeah, now, how do you do this? It's using simply search prompts. You're going to use search prompts to find the best sites to place links on. And I have here a list. I'll leave it down below in the description. If I forget, let me know. But essentially, we're going to be using these search prompts in Google to find the best sites to post links on. Now, I also want to go over how to find the sites, what to look for, what not to look for, bad sites, awful sites, and great sites. Okay, so let me break down that for you right now. And after that, I'm going to tell you how you can leverage AI to automate all this and essentially basically to write valuable content that the site owners actually want to post. Because if you are reaching out to them to build guest posts, you want to write the content, right? You want to have full control over the content that they're posting on their site. But more on that later on. Right now, I'm just going to show you exactly how to look for the sites, right? What not to look for. It's very, very important. You don't want to be building, bad links. So let me go over that real quick in my other tab, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're here. The first step you're going to want to do is write the following text in URL, write for us, and then your niche, right? I'll leave a list in the description for a bunch of these prompts you can use, because you can use different ones. You can use guest posts, you can use a bunch of them. I'll leave a link in the description for different ones, because different prompts will find you different sites. But for this video's sake, let's just go with this one, which is quite simple. So let's say your niche is lawyers. Let's do niche lawyer, okay? And then hit search. Now I'll go over what these little boxes are right here. They're called the Moz bar, but I'll go over that in just a second. But when you write this, here are a couple of sites, of course not all, that in theory will allow you to write for them, as the prompt says, right? So let's just take a look. And this is exactly how we do it, right? Let's see here. Okay, so this site is a lawyersource.com.au, and they seem pretty credible, but we'll go over it. But we'll go over the site, the traffic, and the metrics in just a second. But as you can see, right here, we find a guest post submission guidelines. Every single one of these sites should have some guidelines. The amount of words, the image you need to include in the post, no promotional content, whatever. Again, you can read all this. Then, of course, they have instructions on how to submit it. Super straightforward, just email this email, okay? Now let's say this one. This is another site. This one looks a bit more spammy. I see a bunch of ads. This one looks a bit more spammy than the other one. It has a bunch of different categories. So this wouldn't be a site where you'd want to place a link on. Of course, you can look at the metrics right here, and this is where the Moz bar comes in. This is the free way, because this is a free extension. Anyone can download this Chrome extension. That's what you can see here. Just go to moz.com or write Moz bar. I'm going to show you Moz bar, and it's a free extension which you can download for free, right? And basically this allows you, if you're doing this for free, if you're not using a paid tool, which again I'll explain to you in a second how we do this with the paid tool, allows you to see basically the metrics of these domains, right? But let's look for a couple of more ones. Let us see, as you can see, PA 39, DA 59. This one looks like a good site, but again, yeah, as you can see, something to take note, and you'll learn about this the more you do it, is that these sites that have a bunch of different categories are not the sites you want to go for, because these sites are basically farming paid posts, right? Because they have all the categories, they accept all the niches, they just want to make money, right? So I wouldn't go for these super generic sites. I would go for niche sites, because after all, you're building niche edits, right? The site needs to be niched down. So there's three things you need to worry about: the site niche, the metrics, and if it gets traffic. Because of course, if you're having all this work, you want to make sure that the link is placed on a niche site, one with high metrics, and that on the page that your link will be placed, it is a page with traffic. And this is something you cannot really check for free, right? Using the Moz bar or any other tools, you cannot really check the traffic of a certain page for free. Not that I know of, to be honest. But this free way allows you to go very far, right? Allows you to find sites that are actually accepting guest posts. For example, this one, if you're in the lawyer niche, this one accepts guest posts and niche edits. Allows you to find the metrics, but not the traffic. Now, this one, as we saw before, allows for guest posts. But now one thing we want to do, of course, is create the actual post, right? We have to write the actual guest post. And I'm going to show you how you can do it and making sure that the post is actually very, very valuable. And not only that you benefit from the link juice, right? But also maybe, because the post is that good, you can also try and rank the guest post on Google. So it's 2 in 1. So here's how you do it with AI. Okay, so first I want to show you how the actual posts can look like if you actually do them with AI. Everything you see here is all done with AI. The featured image, the table of contents, all the content structuring, right? The in-article images, there's internal links, so linking out to other pages on my site. There's external links linking out to other authoritative sources, bullets, tables, quotes, even, of course, in-article videos that are relevant to what the content is about. Now, what you see here is an actual valuable post, right? Guys wanting to, or website owners wanting and accepting guest posts want, of course, the highest quality type of post, right? And so, yes, you can do all this with manually, right? But it's going to take you a lot of time. Yes, you can pay someone, but it's going to take you a lot of time and money. Or you can just use AI to generate all this. This costed 80 cents, by the way, 80 cents, less than $1, okay? So I want to show you how to do this. But I want to hammer it on that's important to make sure that if you're building links on these sites, right, if you're building guest posts, you want to make sure that first, right, number one, the site is good, so great metrics, great traffic, all that, as I explained before. But 2, that the post you are posting that links out to your site, right, is an actual valuable post. Again, like we see here with images, videos, links, tables, right, all this. Because again, you want the site where the link is coming from to be great. You want the post as well from where the link is coming to the site to be fantastic, okay? So don't neglect the post where your link is in. Don't do this, okay? It needs to be hyper quality and hyper relevant, of course. The higher relevancy, the better, okay? So here's how to do it. Go to tryjournalist.com. You get it for free, right? By the way, there's 3 articles free. If you want to use it for free, you can. If you want to pay for it, like I said, it's just 80 cents, okay? 80 cents for 1 article. Super cheap. And it works like, as I told you before. So what you do is just go here to generate articles, right? And this is the input you give to the AI, okay? In this case, and of course, forgot to mention, the better the input, right, the better the output, okay? So that's why the input's quite long. Now, you just choose how many articles you want. For this case, you're going to just choose 1. I mean, if you're building multiple links, multiple guest posts, you might want to choose 5, 10, whatever, right? But just choose 1 for now. Now, I recommend you add videos to your articles, okay? So you enable this, right? You can enable and it will do it automatically. So it will write the whole article for you, right? It will write the whole article. And then it will go on YouTube and find, okay, what's the most relevant video we can add to this article that makes sense according to the context of the article. So just enable this and we'll do it automatically for you. If you want to add your own videos, right, or manually, you can just type them here, okay? But I recommend just do it manually, automatically, sorry. Then, images. You want to make sure you add both a featured image to the post and an in-article image. Again, you want to make sure this post is fantastic, okay? Now, you can use AI images, right? You can use organic Bing images, stock photos, or you can use your own custom images. If you do choose AI images, you can even select a prompt right here, right? But you can play around with this, not important. The most important part right here is that you choose and enable, you have articles with featured images and in-article images, okay? Then, external linking, this is where essentially, don't make this, it's not confusing, right? This is where, right, in the post we are writing, right, with the featured image, the table of contents, right, the content structure, the in-article images, the in-article videos. External links are links linking out to other external authoritative sources in your niche. So for example, let's say this is an article about finance, right, and talks about the best stock picks for 2024. We might want to link out to Investopedia. We might want to link out to TechCrunch, maybe Bloomberg, right? And again, this article, remember, this article is going to be posted as a guest post on this amazing site. So as a guest post, right? And the idea is to have links both to your site, of course, but also external links to other authoritative relevant sources, right? You want to make sure that you have external links on the posts. This increases the authoritativeness and relevancy of your article, right? Because you're fermenting whatever it is that you're saying with sources, okay? Super important. Now, there's a bunch of rules you can set here. I won't dive too deep into this. It's quite simple. Just read what they are. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments or just watch this video. It's quite straightforward, right? You want to enable this, okay? Then, internal linking. This is where, of course, I mean, the whole goal is to have your guest post on this site, right? A guest post linking to your money site, okay, to your own site. Now, in this guest post, in this article, right, you want to have a link to your site, right? But you might want to have multiple, right? I recommend you just have one, but if you want multiple, you can set this up right here, internal linking, and it will link out to other pages on your site, right? Automatically. So we will write the article, right? And place links automatically inside it to your homepage, to your contacts page, to other blog posts of yours, if it makes sense, right? To your services page, right? Again, this is important. Ideally, I mean, one link is enough. So one link per guest post is enough, but if you want to add more, you can. So if so, you just add this right here in your set. Structure, I would enable all these sections. I would make the article length medium is good enough, right? I would add a call to action if you have a product you're trying to promote directly. If not, it doesn't really apply here. I would automate the headings. I mean, you can write them manually if you like, and then just create an outline for this. But for this sake, I would just automate all this. Formatting, I'll leave bold words on, I'll leave quotes, I'll leave lists, I'll leave tables too. Knowledge, I would connect this to the web, right? So that the content on the guest post is up to date, okay? Very important. You can connect the knowledge base if you'd like, but I won't dive deep into this right now. In terms of content, I mean, of course, choose the target language. If you're ranking for, if you're building links for a Spanish client or a Spanish site, or Portuguese or Greek, whatever, choose the correct language. If it's just English, just choose English, right? Make sure you select the target country. If you're trying to rank a site in the US, make sure it's US. UK, wherever, because these countries do speak English too, but again, you want to make sure you target the correct one. Creativity levels, you can play around with this if you like. You can change it to no voice, you can change the point of view, you can change the formality. There's a bunch more stuff right here, but this won't really apply to what you're doing. And then, of course, generation mode, we of course want a blog post. We want to generate it based on titles. Just write your blog post or your guest post title right here. Make sure to, within the title, right, include your keyword, okay, very important, right? And then just have the old title right here. Again, if you came this far, most likely you already know what the title of your post is going to be. If not, no worries, but again, make sure that you include the keyword in your title, okay, making sure that the title is relevant to what you're trying to rank for, okay? So that, again, it's all about relevancy, right? You want the site that's linking out to you to be relevant. You want the actual post to be relevant. And for that, the anchor text needs to be relevant, the links need to be relevant, the images, the title, everything needs to be relevant. The most important thing here is relevancy, right? Because the perfect backlink is one that's both relevant plus powerful, okay? So whenever you can make things more relevant to your niche, do it, right? And then just click generate, right? And it's going to happen. It's going to generate an article like the one you saw before, right? This one that I showed you was for the dog niche, but I mean, this works for any single niche, any single language again. And then you just take this, right? You can copy it like so, or you can just export it right here as such, zip it and send it over to the guys, okay? That's literally it, right? That's how you use AI to automate the whole writing process. Again, this costed 80 cents, super cheap. And that's basically it. Now, I also want to show you a paid version, because for now, what I showed you was a free version, right? To find the post, the site story, and actually reach out to them. I want to show you a paid version, which is the one I use, and I see more success with it. So let me just go back to my other tab and go over exactly what that is and how that works. So again, this is the free way that allows you to find sites using these prompts. Again, I'll leave a link in the description where you have a bunch of these different prompts. It allows you to find the sites that are actually accepting guest posts or niche edits. Allows you to find out the metrics of the sites, 100% for free. But now I want to show you the paid way, which will allow you to find actual pages with traffic where you can put your links on. And even better, I'll go over a broken link building strategy you can use to oftentimes get links for free. So the paid method involves using Ahrefs, and Ahrefs is kind of a pricey tool. I think the lowest package is around $100 per month, but it's a super valuable tool and you can do a lot with it. But let's just go over how to find proper niche edit opportunities. So let's paste in here the site we were looking at before and let's see what it shows us. Now, there's two ways we can do this. So there's two ways how we can find pages on this site where we want to put links on. The first types of pages are pages that have strong backlink profiles, and the second types of pages are pages that have a lot of traffic. Now, of course, you want to have a mix of both traffic and link juice, but sometimes it can happen that either you cannot find a page with both traffic and link juice, or that the site owners are not offering paid posting on certain types of pages that either have high traffic or high link juice or both, right? If that makes sense. Now, first one, how do we find the pages on the site that have the most link juice? Just go in here and click best by links. That will give you all the pages that the site has and sorted by the amount of links and the power of those links. Ahrefs can be a confusing tool if you're just looking at this for the first time, so I'll be brief.
So let's say here, for example, this page right here has around 183 do follow links, as a UR of 9, and overall it's one of the top pages in this site for in regards to link juice, right? So what you do, you go here, look at the page, try to find and try to understand if this page is something or is a place where you'd want to insert a link to your site from. And if your niche is lawyers, I would assume that this page would be great for you. But of course, this is yet another part of this manual outreach and manual link building, is that you need to look at the pages and find out which ones best suit your site. If this one does, then you just simply do what we talked about before, just get in touch with them. In this case, they even have a Write For Us page right here. Just get in touch with them, send them an email asking for their pricing, for their processes, describe what you want. Make sure that the email is short and straight to the point, right? This is very important because you don't want to have a bunch of fluff in the email that you're sending out, right? So that's a way you can find the best pages that have the best and strongest links on a certain site, right? Because of course, again, you want to place your link on the strongest pages. That makes, of course, sense, right? Because of course you want to place your link on the strongest pages. Now, what if you wanted to find the pages that have the most traffic? Super simple. You go to top pages, scroll down, and there you go. Here you have the top pages by traffic. For example, we can click on this one right here, best immigration lawyer in Brisbane. And this would not be a page where you could insert a link. Maybe you could insert here a face of your lawyer's CEO of the company, maybe if it is from Brisbane, I don't know. But I guess you can be creative and try and insert here your link. I mean, all these links link out to this lawyer firm. So let me see if they are actually do follow or no follow. Let's see, they are do follow. So I would assume these lawyers most likely will be paying to be here. Not too sure, I don't want to insinuate anything, but I think you can see the opportunity here, right? You can see that this page is getting traffic, and if you're a lawyer firm in Brisbane, you could ask them, again, you have to get in touch with them, with the site owner, to ask them the pricing for a feature over here. And in this case, because this is one of the top traffic pages, you're not only getting link juice, because this is a do follow link from the powerful site, and this page is also powerful. If I'm not mistaken, the page has, let me see if I can find I can't really find the metrics right now, but the thing here is that you're getting a link from a page that has great metrics, from a site that has great metrics, but a page that has a bunch of traffic. So you could get people going through your website through this page. So you have to play around and try to find a good balance between pages with traffic and pages with great metrics. Hopefully this video helped. Hopefully now you know exactly how to find proper link building opportunities through manual outreach, whether there is niche edits or guest posts. This video showed you exactly how you can do it. And finally, to finish off, and I almost forgot to mention this, is a way that you can leverage their broken backlinks to try and get a free link from them. So what does this mean? If you go on Ahrefs, you go here to broken links, and I do not have access to this because I'm not paying for the full high-end package. It is $200 per month, and for me, it's not really necessary for what I use Ahrefs for. But if you are willing to pay this much, or if you maybe use another different tool that gives you access to a site's broken links, what this basically does is it goes out, looks for all the pages on this site, say for example the blog page, looks for all the blog posts right here, and tells you if there's any blog post that has a broken link, right? So for example, this linked to a 404 page or a broken link. What you then do is you get in touch with the website owner and tell them, hey, listen, I found that I read this article, looks great. However, I found that there is a broken link on it. If you want to have here a great source where you can link out to, in replacement to the source that's no longer working, and oftentimes they'll say, yes, sure, I mean, you're helping me out, you're giving me a new source. The other one is no longer valid, so it makes sense that I improve my site and make the links work. Some of them will ask you for money, but either way, it's a numbers game, like I said before, so it's always good and worth a try, right? And that's basically it in regards to this secret quote-unquote tactic for link building. Again, just find the broken links, get in touch with them, tell them that you found the broken link, tell them that you have a new source, maybe more valuable source to replace the old one that's no longer working, and see if they can do it for free. If not, see how much they ask for. And there you have it. So that's yet another way to leverage a tool and leverage broken link building to build links to your site.
Right, so we're back here, and that's basically it, right? That's basically how you go out and build these links, right? Either a guest post or a niche edit, it doesn't really matter, right? Ideally, we're gonna be building both. And for the generation of the post, I would use AI. It's just simpler, 80 cents, super affordable, and you get a properly written post, SEO optimized with images, videos, links, tables of contents, bullets, all this done for you automatically. So yeah, to recap, just reach out to the guys, actually post this on Google, right? Filter through the sites as I showed you, right? Reach out to people, and that's basically it. Now, it is a manual process. If you have VAs, if you have an agency, most likely you can delegate this. But if not, I mean, you can do it yourself. But again, I recommend if you're doing this a lot, to find a virtual assistant or to hire someone to help you out with this, either on Upwork or Fiverr. You can do this quite easily. That's it. All right, so hopefully that was valuable. And now the last clip about link building, which is going to go over a specific type of link, a .org link, which are very powerful. Not a lot of people have, which makes them more powerful because of that, because it's a unique link. And I'm going to show you step by step how you can build them. So play the clip. Welcome. So I'm going to show you step by step how you can acquire links from very powerful .org domains. So domains that are from organizations with ADR from around 40 upwards to around 90 for free. So here's how you do it. Let's say, for example, let's choose a niche. Let's say my niche is, for example, pet grooming, and I'm in Dallas. So I'm a pet grooming company. Again, this works for any business anywhere. Just for example's sakes, I need to use this. Okay. So again, this is me. Let's assume, for example, this right here is my site. Okay. Let me just paste this. I don't know who these guys are. Let's assume again, this is our site. Let me just paste it here into Ahrefs to see. Okay. We have at the moment 3.1 backlinks, 3.1K backlinks from 400 domains, and our DR is 50. And we want to get more backlinks because the competition has a higher DR and has even more powerful backlinks than us. And so how do we build the perfect backlink? So by now you know that the perfect backlink is one that has very high metrics, that's an M, right? And also very high levels of relevancy, right? So this is the two things you want when you're building links. Metrics, of course, high DR, high UR, high traffic, right? And relevancy, of course, is if our site is about dog grooming, right? We want links to be pointing out to our sites that are related with dog grooming, right? We don't necessarily want a link from a store that sells or a car mechanic, right? Linking to us. Even though it might be from a powerful domain with traffic, it's a very irrelevant link. So the perfect link again is one that's with high metrics, high DR, high UR, high traffic, right? And as well as relevant. And the best links that satisfy these criteria are these from non-profit organizations. So what you do, just go to non-profits, let's say Dallas, for example. Again, I just click this, open this. This is like a directory of non-profit organizations in Dallas, okay? I just opened up a couple, right? There's this one, for example, Greyhound, whatever, right? There's this one for breast cancer. There's this one for not too sure, right? There's a bunch of them, right? I just pasted some here, okay? Now, if we take this, for example, the Greyhound, whatever, because it's in our niche, just open up their site right here, right? It's this one right here. They changed the domain, so this is the site. Okay, so again, a .org domain, right? Hyper relevant because this is, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's a adoption or a non-governmental organization, non-profit organization, right? So in the dog niche, right? We pasted it right here. So DR 40, which is decent, right? Domain with real traffic, okay, right? On our .org, which is a powerful, trustworthy TDL. Okay, what we do. And all these sites have this, okay? You go to their sponsors page because every single one of these nonprofits has a sponsor page, right? And you see here on these sponsor pages, these are all links to businesses in the area. For example, this is linked to, let's see, this is linked to another foundation, right? This is linked to, let me see here. Some of these are links to foundations, of course. This is a link to a business, right? To a private business that sells dog foods, okay? And so what you do, quite simply, and the way you show up here in these sponsor pages is just you reach out to them and you make a donation, right? And in return, right, they allow you to be placed on here on this sponsor page, right? So again, yeah, you are paying for the link, you're giving a donation, which goes to a great cause, and you're getting a backlink. So this is the best type of backlink you can have. Again, super powerful domain, super relevant. And there's a ton of these, right? There's a ton. I just searched nonprofit Dallas, and there's infinite, right? There's 12 pages, right? It's insane, right? You can just go through these, open these up, right? Again, open the URL, see how powerful. Again, this is gone. But again, open and see how powerful they are. For example, this right here, right? DR 60. Surely they have a page for, let's see, donate, right? They have a page for donation, so you can donate, of course. And surely they have a page for their sponsors somewhere around here. Oh yeah, there we go. Impact and go to partners. Go to partners. There you go. All their partners right here. And again, all this links to the business. So I go here and click this coffee, for example, again, a link to this coffee brand, a private business, right? There you go. What they did is they just most likely donated to this cause, which again is great. You're donating to a good cause and getting a backlink in return from the sponsors section. Super easy to do, right? Super easy to do. Again, for a good cause, and you get a great backlink. Short one today, but this is super valuable, right? It's insanely valuable and it's super easy to do. And it's a strategy that not a lot of people talk about because I don't know why, not a lot of people know about it, but it's insanely powerful. And this allows you to get backlinks that most of your competitors will not have guaranteed. So you get exclusive backlinks that your competition doesn't have, plus high metrics, so high traffic, high DR, high UR, right? And hyper relevant, hyper niche down, okay? So that's it. And that's that. Guys, we are essentially done. Hopefully this was mega valuable. I try not to hide a single thing, like every single thing I know about SEO, I share with you. Like again, I'll be super transparent. My whole goal is to teach you every single thing I know about SEO, ranking sites, and marketing, so that when you know how to do it, you'll use my software, Arvo, to do it for you. Now, before I go, I want to give you, I'm going to talk about three things super quick. Okay, the very first thing is, of course, the software that I keep on mentioning called Arvo, which again can automate a lot of your SEO for you. It's not just an AI writer. It's so much more than that. I'll give you a quick rundown because I think it's super cool that I show you this. And I know I showed you throughout the video, but one last time I want to show you three things. The first is going to be a software. So you can generate articles, news articles, Amazon product reviews. You can convert YouTube video to blog posts. This might seem not very valuable, but for example, if you go here to arvo.com, right, you just go to the case studies tab. There was this French guy that, in essence, he used this feature right here to convert a bunch of YouTube videos into blog posts in French, because Arvo allows you to write in over 150 different languages, right? And he was able to, let me see if I can find it here, like, get almost to 5,000 in monthly organic search traffic just converting YouTube videos into French articles. So the videos were in English, right? He converted them from English videos to French-based articles. And I mean, you can see the case study, it's insane. And so these little things work. And they work so well, just a bit of a tangent right here, because a lot of people just focus their efforts into the English-speaking market. But there's so many untapped markets that are not speaking English, like Portuguese-speaking markets, Greek, Japanese, I don't know, French, Spanish, right? There's a ton of these non-English speaking markets that oftentimes are very underserved in terms of content. And so in essence what he did is just, it took a bunch of English speaking very valuable YouTube videos where the info is mega valuable. He used this to convert the videos into blog posts, converted it to French, and then put it out on his blog. Now, he's not stealing info, of course. He gave mention to the creator, but he's just transforming the video info into reading info, right? And putting it in French. I mean, it just works. So that's one of the cool features we have here. You can generate news articles. So you can have, let's say you have your website, right? Let's say you're a plumber, right? You have your about us, you have your menu, you have your services. And then here you have like a news sections. Let's even say, for example, you're like a Pokemon website. I don't know. You talk about Pokemon, right? You sell like Pokemon cards, Pokemon, whatever, right? There's this news section where you can have, if you open this up, right? It's a section with a bunch of the latest news about the Pokemon market, the Pokemon games, whatever. What this will do, right, is it will give topical authority and authority in the space that Google understands that, okay, this brand right here has all these Pokemon products, all these services, whatever, and then have this dedicated section that talks about solely Pokemon-based news. So you'll become easily the authority in this space for Pokemon. And all this like small stuff, having like a dedicated section on your site about like whatever niche news you have is achievable with this as well. Amazon product reviews, the classic SEO articles. The fact that the articles, that you generate look insane, right? If you go here to gardening, I always give this example because it's quite visual. Yes, you can do this manually, but just the time this saves you, like with the links, internal, external, the images, you can change them around. Like, hey, let's test this, add a car, right? I think I mentioned this before, right? But it takes into account the context of the image, the context of the article, and it supposedly will add a car in a garden-like scenario. So let's see what it does. And all right, there you go. So again, these are AI-based images. You can use your own images if you like. You can say add links. Again, I showed you this before, but the point of this AI editor is just you don't even need to use Arvo to generate the content. You can just import your content here and then use our editor to add links, add keywords, change things around, right? Change your images. There you go. There you go. Boom. Boom, boom. I just added these external links to my site my paragraph just like that. I can transform this into a table, into a list, make a chart, make a long. I can add custom prompts. I can sprinkle in my keywords here. I mean, point here is that you can use this to save you so much more time. There's even this AI assistant that allows you to like talk back and forth with the article. I showed you this before, but you can say, hey, add this paragraph, add that paragraph, remove this. The text sounds too beginner friendly. Make it more like expert friendly. Mention this car. Remove this paragraph. Add this link. So it's just as if you're speaking with ChatGPT. Like it's insane. And it also automates your blog. So you can like connect Arvo with your website, right? And it does the keyword research for you, right? It finds the keywords. Then it generates the content based off of these keywords, right? Then it publishes the content to your site. All these automatically, by the way. It's publishing all these articles to your site on autopilot, right? If you want. And of course, if we expand on these articles, all of them will have, of course, a featured image, a table of contents, proper content extraction with in-article images, in-article videos, bullets, tables, quotes, internal links. So these articles will be interlinked between each other in a way that makes sense. External links. So if this is an article, for example, about finance, it will link out to Investopedia, to Wikipedia, to Huffington Post. I don't know. All this done for you automatically. Also, it automatically indexes the content on Google. And it also does social media syndication or automation, which basically takes these automatically syndicates them to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter on autopilot, which is great, by the way, for LLM SEO. There's lead magnets, which is one of my favorite features, by the way, which not a lot of people use. I don't know why, but it's insane. There's of course, the AI agent, right, where you add your site and it just scrolls through it and optimizes your technical SEO for you. So page styles and descriptions, can all URLs, image, alt text, internal links, schema. I mean, I've shown you this before. It gives you the current meta title and it suggests a new one. It tells you why. You can hit apply if you want the AI agent to go into your site and change all this stuff. So this automates all your technical SEO for you. It's insane. And that's the very first thing I want to mention is the software if you want to give it a go. If you don't have time for this stuff, well, I developed this service, which I mentioned before, which is a done-for-you service, right? It's $2K a month, and we guarantee a 25% increase in traffic over 90 days, or you don't pay. Okay, so that's a pretty cool service. We use the software for you. You also get access to the software, right? Full features like with this price, you get access to me doing SEO for you, and full access to Arvo software, so you can use it for your other projects if you'd like. And finally, we have the Academy. If you have time to learn, if you can get our courses, which basically, if you purchase this, it gives you 1 year access to Arvo, a full year, plus lifetime access to all my courses, which, let me just scroll past all these results right here. Results. Gives you all these courses, right? Gives you weekly calls, gives you one-on-one consulting call with myself, right? SEO Q&As, my 7 SEO courses plus one exclusive plugin. I mean, it gives you a bunch of stuff to learn how to do SEO the right way with, of course, a 100% money back guarantee. And again, you get access to all this stuff for life and a full year, access to Arvo. So those are the 3 things: the software itself, the done-for-you service, and the Academy. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way through, I mean, I'm impressed. And if you do, I want you to please comment best SEO course. If you could please comment the words best SEO course or any questions you might have. But if you made it this far, it'd be amazing if you could just comment best SEO course, and because this will help me push the video. You can help YouTube's algorithm push the video to more people, because I put a lot of effort into this. Hopefully you could tell. And so if you can please comment the words best SEO course, that would be insane. I'll be mega grateful for that, so that this video can be pushed out to more people, because again, I don't hide a single thing. I should share with you every single thing I know. And yeah, thanks so much again. Please comment the words best SEO course, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.